I wear a few different hats as a CFO. You know, sometimes it's referred to as Chief Fixing Officer. Wherever there's a fire in the business, you know, I'm often there first.
Whatever hat CFOs like Imran need to wear, Sage's tools and insights can make sure they fit. Sage, helping business flow.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
We've already had one Scottish Cup quarter-final, and it's Celtic who join Aberdeen in the final 4-4-2 victory against Livingston in the end. A really good cup tie, had to be said. Livy played their part, scored a couple of goals, but in the end Celtic too much in an attacking sense, although they did leave it late. And it is Brendan Rodgers' side who will watch the draw to see who they get. It's all about going through in the cup, Hugh. It had its moments, but I suspect when we hear from Brendan Rodgers, he will point that out, that the cup progression was the aim and it was achieved.
Yeah, we nevertheless reserve the right to say they made a hard work of it. I just think there are so many things that are important going forward here. How bad is Callum McGregor? How long is he going to be out? Carter Vickers. When Carter Vickers is not there, Scales and Welsh are not a central defensive partnership that you can build the remainder of the season on. It's just the way it is. So the injury report will be very, very interesting. And there will also be elements of the game that Brendan Rodgers can't be happy with. The two goals that Livy scored were both helped by defensive frailty, but two of the best strikes that Joe Hart has been unable to deal with this season.
Yep, no doubt about it. He'll be unhappy at some things, but what he will be delighted is getting into the semi-final. And, you know, that is objective at the start of the day. But the game didn't take on the form he would have expected. After 45 minutes, funny enough, you thought Celtic were on form. They had some good moments within the game, good performances within that first 45 minutes, even though they conceded. But the second period was again a drop in standard, and that may be a concern. Got to give credit to Livy and David Martindale, because we've seen teams and his teams as well come to Celtic Park and just play for the draw. I thought he was positive today with his selection. I thought they were they try to get the ball in the Celtic box as much as possible, and just when it went 2-2, they had an opportunity. It could have went 3-2, and where would Celtic have went after that? But Celtic knuckled down, and Maeda they've got a lot to thank for, because not involved in a lot of the game at all, but he's so sharp, and that's how he gets his 3 goals and Kyogo adding it to make it a more comfortable afternoon than it was.
What did you make of it, Celtic fans? Was it just about getting through? Were there ropey moments for you? How did you reflect on that performance and result today? 01419511025. You can call us now. Yes, we have other games to get to this afternoon, but we can squeeze a couple of calls in, so pick up that phone. Gordon, for you?
Yeah, good cup tie. Enjoyed it, had everything. Plenty of goals. I thought Livy played their part. I think if you're a Celtic fan, your positives. Kuhn today, Taylor was substituted. I thought was excellent, I've got to say that. It was a bit nervy at the end, but cup football's all about getting in the draw, and Celtic have achieved that.
Another injury check necessary, because Kuhn did go off holding his hamstring, so it'd be ironic, having had his best display thus far in a Celtic jersey, if he's now out because of injury.
Yeah, I did wonder if it was just one of those, Mark, the sort of pretend I'm injured, or not pretend I'm injured, but you know that way players sort of just like to show that they've put in a real shift, and they'll maybe give a wee rub here or a rub there. I don't know for sure if he was, but we'll find out. But anyway, a 4-2 victory in the end. Could that maybe, if he is fit, be a bit of a kickstarter for Nicholas Kuhn?
You would like to think so. I mean, players, they all go in confidence. Doesn't matter where you've been brought in from. If you come from the youth academy, you've been brought in for 4 million, whatever, you thrive off confidence. Now, there's no doubt about it, Kuhn looks like he's taking a wee bit of time to get going. A lot of people written him off. I wasn't convinced over him, but on today's performance is what we're judging him. He looks a player. On that, what did we, 70 minutes, something like that, maybe a wee bit longer, he looks a player within that, and he'll take great confidence from that. And wingers and front players especially maybe relying on it a wee bit more. If you're a striker, Daz will tell you, in your own confidence, and nothing's coming off for you, of course it detracts from your ability. Wingers are the same, but today he had to beaten a Montano every time he got the ball, so he can be happy with his day's work. He got a good ovation going off. And you've got to say James Forrest, when he came on, was lively as well. So for that position that Yang's dropped out of, two players looking on form on today's performance.
Get the calls in then. How do you reflect on it? You've heard a brief taster of what Gordon, Mark and Hugh thought. Let's bring the phone lines into the equation. Paul is on. What's the main emotion after that, Paul?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster year, and I'm on to both. Disagree with Hugh, and I'm starting to agree with him. So you can take whatever point you want to start with. First of all, the defenders Nawrowski and Lagerbielka must be really bad to get in the team ahead of Welsh and Scales. Scales has done fantastic for us, but against a physical front line, they really were found wanting. Welsh is 5 or 6 yards behind the Livingston attacker for the goal. But I want to praise James Forrest and Kyogo. To have a player like James Forrest in your armoury and to manage him the way that Brendan Rodgers has done to keep him. He's a consummate professional anyway. I thought he was the difference when he came on, and I thought Kyogo looked lively, which is against the narrative of what we're hearing about Celtics. Every preview, every game is a negative build-up every single time, and it's just becoming a bit grating now.
Why do you think that is?
I think Brendan Rodgers alluded to it. I think there's a story being told, and I think there's a narrative. And
how does that start, though? Do you know what I mean? People don't just dream that stuff up. Does it not come from Celtic fans complaining about performance levels, complaining about signings, points being dropped, title race swinging in the balance? Is that not where it stems from? Whether there's then an overreaction on the back of it, fine, but it obviously has to start there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get that, and I accept that maybe a month ago, but do you not then move on from that to say, look, the Hearts game was what it was.
They lost 1 week ago, Paul. Do you know what I mean? How quickly do you want to move on? People are giving credit for Celtic winning today. If you've listened, the guys have praised Nicholas Kuhn, they've praised the goal Celtic scored, they've said the exact same as what you've said about the defence. So if they're being negative, you're doing the same as well. How quickly do you want to move on? Celtic don't go on big winning runs at the moment.
Well, before the game, Hugh's got Nicholas Kuhn drawn and quartered. He's another field signing. So that's what I mean by the narrative.
Again though, Paul, but you keep doing this, right? Every Celtic fan has been underwhelmed with Nicholas Kuhn so far. You and I both know, and that's why we love him. Hugh maybe puts it in a bit stronger or more dramatic language, but every Celtic fan going into today had been underwhelmed by Nicholas Kuhn. So you can keep suggesting that it's all other people that are doing this, but it just comes from the feelings of the Celtic fans.
I don't know. I just think it just seems to be the Tynecastle game was not as a freak game in terms of the fallout from that. The fallout for that's unbelievable. Rangers have a statement out every time they disagree. They actually called Willie Collum out as a club. Nothing's done about it, and then Brendan Rodgers, because he uses the word incompetence, is hauled over the coals.
Well, Paul, if I can advertise my
covering some amount of ground here, I have to say.
If I can advertise my own newspaper column this morning in the Sunday Mail, I said that Brendan Rodgers had only said what every manager in the Premiership thinks. Brendan Rodgers just happened to say it out loud on the question of incompetence, and I made the point that had he called John Beaton an ignoramus, inept at handling the equipment in the VAR studio, would they have got off on a verbal technicality? So I have supported Brendan Rodgers today, and when you go back to your point about Welsh and Scales, I suspect in your heart of hearts, Welsh and Scales as a central defensive partnership from now until the end of the season would not do it for Celtic. They have to hope that Carter Vickers isn't serious. The loss of McGregor is serious. And the reason why there has been, to use your word, this narrative, is that Celtic had an 8-point lead in the title race, and now it's a 2-point deficit. That kind of thing does tend to annoy the fans.
Go on, Mark, give Paul some of the sunny optimism he's looking for.
Well, look, Paul's right about the defence. Defence does look weak, and we've covered the ground. Carter Vickers is out. Okay, Celtic have got problems. Positive, so again, I have to go back to Kuhn today. I think Ida in recent weeks has looked good also. The problem is getting both of them to do it at the same time. When you bring signings in January, you want your signings to have a positive impact, and preferably all at the same time. It's either one or the other at the minute. So if they get the two of them firing, then they'll be in a better place. But I do agree with him with Kyogo. I thought Kyogo, and again I'm repeating myself, looked good when he came on at Tynecastle. I think he looked like a player with something to prove to get back in the side, and he's done his chances no harm today with coming on, being lively, few efforts in goal, and a goal to finish. So you might just find him back in the team next week.
We're building up to kick off at Easter Road. We're reflecting on the events at Celtic Park. Get those calls in right now.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
One cup tie down today and one more to go. Celtic 4, Livingston 2. Brendan Rodgers still hasn't lost a Scottish Cup tie, and on he goes into the draw for the semi-final. We await to see what Philippe Clement and Nick Montgomery can serve up in the capital a bit later on. That is a 5:30 kick-off, so we're getting a bit closer, and we will keep going to Easter Road sporadically for the build-up. We've also got the opportunity for you, if you fancy it, to have your say on the phones. What did you make of that? What did you make of that early game at Celtic Park? We've had one caller on, pleased to be through, a bit concerned, a bit annoyed at a negative narrative that other people are coming up with. Things more positive should be focused on. So what do you think? Give us a call and let us know. Stephen's a Celtic fan. How did you feel about it today, Stephen?
Good evening, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks very much for taking my call.
Pleasure.
And I put on the positive side of it, I'm glad to get through to another semi-final. And obviously, at the end of the day, the scoreline was probably a wee bit more flattering than probably would we have expected. I think for me, there's I don't know how to describe it. We seem to be limping through games, game to game, no real cohesion. And my big worry is that I don't know if Celtic, I don't know if this team's really up for a fight. You know, the fight between now and the end of the season, to get something out of this season. You know, to try and win the league and try and win the Scottish Cup. I don't see much from them fight-wise, you know, which worries me. That's my biggest concern of late.
Yeah, they look a bit powder puff in that direction. And when it got to 2-2 and the crowd were grumbling, then you're looking at players and they're not at their cohesive best as you asked for, Stephen. I think cohesion's difficult when so many mainstays of the team are not there. McGregor, Carter Vickers, Kyogo has been in and out. Hatate has had a long-term injury problem. So I understand why cohesion can be difficult, but I wholeheartedly agree with you that the team, today's team, would not get you to a league title.
I think the problem is, Hugh, that you mentioned it there. They're missing two of the biggest characters. Carter Vickers at the back is really so important for them, and their leader Callum McGregor in the middle of the park as well. But they should still have enough to, you know, about them as Celtic players to go about and say, right, okay, we're missing these two strong characters. Some people have to step up to the mantle. I just thought that it was a typical cup tie today. I got a bit nervous for Celtic, but it's all about getting semi-final. And if they go and win this tournament, you wouldn't even be, you'll never talk about a Livingston game again.
I wonder about the moments though in the match, Mark, because remember, even at 2-1, Celtic were looking quite fluid and were looking quite confident. He does get a couple of chances. I appreciate it is a big if, and that's the nature of football, but if you stick one of them away, or if you don't completely capitulate in that one at the back, it feels like Celtic are getting some big moments wrong, and then that throws everything else into doubt for the next half an hour or whatever it may be. Sometimes it lasts an entire game.
Yeah, without doubt. And look, the top players will shuck those things off within a game easily, pretty easily. not even give them a second thought. But you tend to look at it like it's a wee bit of hangover for some players when they give away, or it's a poor decision, they give the ball away, it affects them for a period of the game. That has been a common factor throughout this season with Celtic players. But look, to contradict Stephen a wee bit in terms of fight, they had to fight for it today. You know, it didn't come easy. And I get we all think Celtic should just blow Livy out the water, and they should in terms of budget and players they've got. But sometimes you need to roll up your sleeves and take the ball when it's difficult. And they did that, and they got their rewards. You know, they kept banging at the door, and they got their goal through design. Maeda's across the penalty area, the goals that we've seen scored so often from Celtic. So give credit to the players for that, because going into the 84th minute, that couldn't have been an easy environment to play in as a Celtic player. I know that, and Livy players would have been feeling better about themselves as the minutes ticked by. So they got there in the end, not perfect, but they got over the line.
What were the positives, Stephen?
Well, listen, for me the positive was that they actually got the result. The overwhelming worry that I have is Celtic continually concede goals, whether they're today, by all accounts, they were 2 good goals for Livingston, but they seem to be conceding an awful lot of goals to the teams below us, right? And as we all know, in league titles where they're won and lost and stuff like that, right, that's the team that shows up the best, wins the league. That's ultimately what it is. And I always feel that we've got a mistake in us, or maybe 1 or 2 mistakes in us in defence. And over the last couple of years, I've never felt like that. And I just think it's synonymous with how the team is, the players that we've got. I granted that Carter Vickers is injured, and when he's in, it's a completely different defensive back line. But, you know, maybe it's just a culmination of the recruitment. Obviously, we were blessed when Ange was here. He gave us the football that we all loved. Brendan comes in, he plays a slightly more defensive system, which isn't really as appealing to the eye as what most of us fans would like. But I don't know. I'm glad that we get through, right? And as Gordon says, if we get in and we win this final, we'll not talk about it again. But you know, I think it's just only right to kind of raise the concerns that we won that game 4-2 today, but at 2 each, Livingston brought on a couple of big guys. I mean, simple corner, a great save for Joe Hart. I mean, they could have been out the Scottish Cup today. You know, that's my big concern, really. And I never really felt that before. I've not felt like that with Celtic in the last couple of years. I feel it kind of seeping in there now, and I'm sure there's probably a few other Celtic fans feel the same way, you know.
Is there a cause for potential optimism that Nicholas Kuhn had certainly his best game in a Celtic jersey? There's not been loads to shout about so far, but, you know, started to look a bit more confident today.
Yeah, by all accounts, for what I've heard, you know, the guy had a really decent upturn today in form. I don't know, you know, I think for £3 million and you're coming into Celtic, you should be putting in good performances, because I don't want to disrespect the opposition that we play, but Celtic have a lot of gameplay, especially at home. If you can't showcase your skills at home, right, well, when can you do it, really? So I expect nothing less than good performances at Parkhead, but it's when we get away from home I need these guys to step up. You know, that's what good players do. Good players play in every environment, not just the easy one at Parkhead. I know Mark said it's hard to play there, being an ex-player and stuff like that, but you know, if you come to Celtic, there's an expectation, and it's the same for across the city as well. You know, the fans of these clubs, we expect a certain type of player to come in and try and, you know, and excite us. And listen, I'm glad he's by all accounts he seems to have done well today. I hope it's not a hamstring injury he's got, mind you, with a terrible run of injuries that we actually have to doubt. That would just be another one to add to the list.
Yeah, I suppose let's finish this section with a bit of praise for a hat-trick scorer, Gordon Dalziel. He seems to have been overlooked a little bit because he was quiet overall, but Dyson Maeda, the secret clearly, grow the hair. It was his 100th appearance. He's grown the hair a bit and he gets a hat-trick.
Well, he gets Celtic off to the perfect start, and you're thinking, yeah, it's got to be a comfortable day. Sneaks in at the back post. He was just making those runs all day long and causing all sorts of problems. He wasn't influential in the game, he wasn't on the ball all the time, but it doesn't matter because, as you quite rightly said, he's walking out of Celtic Park with the ball under his arm, a hat-trick, and he scores the goals at the valuable times and takes a bit of pressure off Celtic. He'll be delighted with his day's work. As I say, anybody that gets a hat-trick, especially at home, especially in a cup tie, you're happy with that.
One each, Liverpool, Man City. McAllister penalty, if you're interested. Yeah, Mark dies in Maida. We know he's not always the complete package because he's got so much pace and running power, and the quality can sometimes lack, but can't really grumble on a day when he scores 3.
Oh, not a doubt about that. I mean, he gave Michael Nottingham a tough afternoon. We didn't really see him that much with the ball at his feet, but I tell you what, he's an opportunist. He seeks out space, and he understands when the ball's on the opposite side how to fill that area at the back post, and that's where he gets his rewards today. His reactions are so good as well. You know, you look at his second goal, he's the first to react, and his header maybe should have been placed better into corner, but it still goes in. But just having that threat constantly at the back post, it's good to have that as a winger. You know, you're working your opposite winger getting in, and he gets his 3 goals, and probably actually should have had more, because I was critical of him when he got his one inside Nottingham, you know, when he could have made it 3-2 earlier on. So a good afternoon for him, but the Celtic fans again want more because he's in those spaces an awful lot. You think back to Fir Park, remember a couple of weeks ago, he can miss them, but he's always in there.
I think Stephen's core point is that he, as a Celtic fan, looks at that team and thinks they're not title winners, and he's questioning their mentality under stress. We need to find out from Brendan Rodgers the state of play with regard to Carter Vickers, McGregor and Tatati.
All about the cup today though, when Celtic are through. Who will join them? Will it be Hibs or Rangers? We'll shift focus and build up there. You can keep your calls coming though, no matter the topic. Give us a shout right now and we'll take one of these. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
I wear a few different hats as a CFO. You know, sometimes it's referred to as Chief Fixing Officer. Wherever there's a fire in the business, you know, I'm often there first.
Whatever hat CFOs like Imran need to wear, Sage's tools and insights can make sure they fit. Sage, helping business flow.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Building up to kick-off at Easter Road, Hibs against Rangers for the third place in the semi-finals. Aberdeen first through, Celtic joining them with the 4-2 win against Livingston, and we'll see what Morton and Hearts can muster up to round it all off tomorrow. The phone lines, as they often are on a Sunday, are open early, so if you fancy it, let's hear from you on 01419511025. That is the number that you need. Let's squeeze in John, who's on the line, then we'll go straight to Easter Road. John, what did you make of Celtic Park today?
Today's game was a bit okay, stop-start. Obviously the result is the main thing. The 2 goals that Livingston scored, genuinely I don't think that there is a goalkeeper that would have stopped them. But the thing about the last caller, Stephen, Celtic under Ange Postecoglou, the philosophy of that football that Ange played, as long as he scored 3 goals after 2 goals, it was okay. So Celtic conceding goals has always been a thing, as long as we can score more goals. And under Ange, what Stephen was saying, that we're shipping goals, yes, of course, but good teams who ship goals, they make do with getting goals,
scoring more than the opposition ultimately.
Yep.
Actually, because the second one was obviously, it was poor defending initially by Celtic, but is it not? Is it that's so good by Tete Yenge? Is it not? Like, could you not play that scenario out 10 more times and it doesn't end up in a goal conceded?
Yeah, I think if you're Brendan Rodgers and Monday you're sitting with your squad, you're going over the video, of course you're analysing that. But I said he's no right whatsoever to score from there. I agree with John. I don't think any goalkeeper's saving it. He sort of looked if to say, I've ran out of options here, I've not got the support, I've tried to hold the ball up. He does brilliantly, and he just unleashes an unstoppable shot and it goes in the back of the net. Joe Hart, absolute no chance. So sometimes, as much as Celtic's defence comes under a bit of criticism, sometimes you've got to give a bit of,
the first one is definitely an issue, but the second,
well, the second is a terrific finish. From a Livy point of view, Yenge's done brilliant, but it is so poor from a Celtic point of view. Firstly, they give the ball away. Remember, it's Matt O'Reilly who tries to play a pass, who then creates the opportunity for Livy. Secondly, when Matt O'Reilly does get back to hold Yenge up, you need, as a central defender, to be back in position to think that Yenge has every possibility of beating an attacking midfielder in your box, and Welsh allows him to turn and just shoot. So if I'm analysing that from a Celtic point of view, I can see a whole load of problems there. And of course I give credit to Livy because they picked the pass well, and Yenge does well to hold it up, and he does well to spin and finish it. But there's certainly a weakness there, there's no doubt about it, and the first one's similar.
I get John's broad point, Hugh, that sometimes if Ange Postecoglou's side leaked goals, no one cared because it was so exciting and you just go and score more than the opposition. John feels that's what was at play today, and that's what should get focused on.
Ultimately, being in the draw was all that mattered. What it looked like, you can argue about. I think Brendan Rodgers has this problem with the Celtic fans who simply believe that he changed everything after Ange Postecoglou left. Now, he's tried everything in his power, including a film show for reporters at Lennoxtown, to prove that he has tweaked nothing, changed nothing. His philosophy is Ange Postecoglou's philosophy, but the fans don't take it in. So there's no doubt that Kyogo is not the player he was last season. You need to ask Kyogo why that's the case, and Brendan Rodgers. Hatate has been a long-term miss for Celtic, and that's been really unfortunate. McGregor, Celtic have got to get the mainstays back into that team for the run into the title race, or quite simply, they won't win the title.
But happy to be in the hat, John. What about the positives then, if you think the negatives have been overdone? Nicholas Kuhn, Dyson Maeda, how pleasing were they?
Well, Maeda, that haircut has to go, man. That's just
that's when he's got his magic powers from. He's got the hat trick with it.
The hair has to go, right? But obviously, to be in the hat for the semi-finals, that's what matters. It doesn't matter if you get beat, if you win 13-12. Just what happens is you're in the hat, and it's just for the rest of the season. We'll just have to see what happens.
I see my goal flash button couldn't keep up with score lines of that magnitude, I have to say. But thanks to John in Blantyre. So that's you with your opportunity to join. John, you can still call us, let us know what you thought of the game at Celtic Park. Plenty more time. We're here until 8 o'clock at the earliest, so keep your calls coming. Plenty of time for it. Let's go back to Easter Road and get a bigger look at what lies ahead there, because we gave you brief team news, but let's set the scene properly with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, the team's out on the pitch warming up at the moment. Always drama when these two face each other at Easter Road as well. I'm sure tonight will be no different as well. Their first Scottish Cup meeting actually since that 2016 final where David Gray's header settled things at Hampden. A lot has changed since then, but in fairness, a lot has changed for Hibs in the past month or so as well. They lost 3-0 to Rangers here in January, but since then the likes of Emiliano Marcondes, Maelida's come in as well, made a real impact since signing in January. Nick Montgomery with a change of shape as well that they've really benefited from too. Rangers of course coming off the back of that exciting 2-2 draw against Benfica on Thursday. Philip Clement was a bit frustrated with the result in the end, but very happy with the performance. Said his players couldn't have given him any more on the night. That's probably why he hasn't made any changes to the lineup. I will start with the home team though for the starting 11s. Out go Miller and Venta. In come Triantis and Chris Cadden, who comes in for his first start of the season, his first start since May due to injury. It did look on paper as if it might be a back five, just given the personnel that Nick Montgomery has picked for this one, but I'm told it's likely to be a back four with Nectar Triantis playing in a defensive midfield position rather than in the centre of defence where he normally does operate. So David Marshall in goal for them this evening. Chris Cadden, Will Fish, Rocky Bashiri and Jordan Abita. The back three, it'll be in midfield Nectar Triantis, Nathan Mariah Welsh and Joe Newell, Emiliano Marcondes and Martin Boyle supporting Miazine Maelida up top. The substitutes: Wallacott, Hanlon, Levitt, Ewan, Mayenda, Stevenson, Lafondra, Jair and Whittaker. For Rangers, as I said, no changes from Thursday night. Jack Butland continuing in goal. The back four: James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter and Ridvan Yilmaz. The two holding midfielders: John Lundstrom and Mohamed Diamandi, Dujon Sterling, Tom Lawrence and Fabio Silva in behind Cyril Dessers. I'm sure Philip Clement will be glad to see Rabi Matondo back on the bench as well. He hasn't featured in the last 6 games due to injury, but with Rangers lacking in wide options, he's now back in the squad. Joining him on the bench: McCrory, Roof, Davies, Balogun, Barisic, Raskin, McCausland and McKinnon. The referee here at Easter Road will be Stephen McLean and the VAR Stephen Kirkland.
Yeah, lots to look forward to there. Andrew, it's interesting, Gordon Dalziel, that Rangers have gone unchanged just because of Thursday night, because a lot of the talk was they put a lot into it. It was travel, there was travel involved. Did they look a bit tired towards the end of the game? And I know there's not loads of scope to make loads of changes because of injuries and so on, but no changes whatsoever.
Yeah, but surprising, because the manager usually likes to tweak it, 1 or 2 changes, maybe sometimes a little bit more. But do you know what? I think because of the performance on Thursday night, because of the result, the positivity, everything about it, I think he's just decided, look lads, go again. I know they stayed over and then travelled the next day. They'll probably have obviously Saturday very light indeed. They've got all day today. I don't think tiredness will be an issue, Gordon. I really don't. I think it's once again he'll have it in the dressing room talking about it's a chance to get back to Hampden, chance to get to semi-final of a major tournament. I think Rangers will come out the traps tonight. I think it'll be a difficult game, but I think they'll have enough.
I think it's good psychology. Clement at his best saying to the players that they're all writing that you're tired and that this will affect team selection, but we will show them that you are not tired. And he's put out the same team. I mean, by all accounts, John Lundstrom, for example, came off the pitch looking like someone who'd done a marathon with a caravan on his back. So Lundstrom goes again. They all go again, and I think it's good psychology on the part of the manager.
I think you've got to look who you've got in reserve as well. Now, I didn't think there'd be a problem with tiredness. I said the other day there that big games come around, all the players want to play in them, and they sometimes get that burst of energy. But when you're looking at your bench and you're thinking, who can I put in? Because Clement has rotated all the way through since he's taken over. He's rotated his squad, and very well at that. But whoever he put in today, I think is going to be a downgrade. I know you've got Roof on there on the bench and you've got Matondo, but are they a better bet at the minute than Dessers or Silva in the wide areas? Probably not. I know you've got McCausland, but Sterling's a fit lad doing a good job, so he's happy with what he's got at the minute. And I think it's the right choice as well. When you've come off a performance like you did on Thursday night with that starting 11, again you're feeling good about how you're playing just now. Done very little in the previous 2 days, as Daz said. I think you're ready to go for this one tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's the approaching the business end of the season for a reason, Gordon. You have to try and juggle these different competitions, and sometimes you wonder what's the bigger factor. Is it tiredness, or actually can success breed success, sort of thing? You know, it was a good result the other night, so these players psychologically should be feeling good about themselves. As Hugh says, you task them with going and doing it again. If you can get through in the cup and you arrive back in the league still top of the table, almost kind of starts to fulfil itself. You know, you just keep going from one game to the next.
Mark will tell you, as an ex-player, when you're in every tournament and you're getting to the latter stages, quarter-finals to get to Hampden semi-finals, Thursday night tiredness will not come into it at all. You're well rested, you're well looked after, you're excited because of the fact that you want to keep that jersey with the amount of big important games coming up. Everybody wants to be first pick. So I don't think that will be an issue at Easter Road tonight. I don't think tiredness will come into it. I think the manager will have assessed his players, knows every single thing about them. On you go and get us into a semi-final. Will it be difficult? Yes, it will. But I just think the way Rangers are going defensively away from home at times, they're really solid. Yes, you can point to Benfica with obviously Golson's unfortunate own goal, but on the whole they're usually very solid away from home, and they've got enough in the middle of the park in front to go and win this game tonight.
Yeah, Philippe Clement's enjoyed playing against Hibs so far. You look at the previous results, went to Easter Road back in January and won 3-0. If you remember, one of his first games in charge was the 4-0 win. In fact, it was the first, wasn't it?
Yep.
At home, 4-0 win at home.
Yeah.
So it was a fairly sizable aggregate scoreline there against Hibs. The only thing that would make it different for Nick Montgomery maybe is the fact that January's passed and he's got a different look to that team now.
Yeah, but that was a statement result, if you like, on the part of Clement. It put down the marker, and Rangers haven't looked back since, other than that home defeat from Motherwell. I think Nick Montgomery could do with a result like that. He's played Hearts twice, home and away, hasn't beaten them. He needs a big result, and eliminating Rangers from the Cup would certainly be that. So he has got to match them for mentality and willpower, because that's what Philippe Clement has backed today. He's saying the team who got a draw in Lisbon against Benfica goes in again, because I know they can do it. Hibs have to match that mentality, otherwise they'll lose by a distance.
Let's hear from both managers, Nick Montgomery then Philippe Clement.
Let's be honest, I watched the game against Benfica. It was a good game. Yeah, they've definitely got the squad, the budget. I think that, so Philip mentioned the transfer market. Benfica compared to Rangers is over 100 million. I think transfer market value of Rangers compared to Hibs is over 100 million as well. Obviously there's always pressure on a team like Rangers and Celtic. Will be the underdog. But yeah, when you look at the squad they've got and the value of the squad they've got on the budget, teams like them are more than capable of playing multiple competitions, because they invest heavily in the squad. So that's why they're so successful. But it's a cup game, it's 90 minutes, it's anybody on the day, and I think we're in a good place right now. We're confident going into the game.
We're going to go hard to get into the semi-final, because it's an important thing. And I've read that they were really unlucky in the last two games against us. I read, so they have a lot of belief, clearly. So it's about us getting the good result there and qualifying. My team have been working hard all season in that way, and they never stopped. Good proof was also after the Betis game. A few days later, we had the League Cup final, and they were there. So no, my team is hungry to win more trophies. And we know we need to play against Hibs a really good game, because they're really hungry to beat us, apparently.
A bit of needle in a lot of those comments. I think Philippe Clement's noticed Hibs must have been taking too much heart out of their previous meetings for his liking.
Well, he cannot be any more specific. He's annoyed, irritated, agitated by the fact that people keep saying that Hibs they were hungry and they were unfortunate. At time up today, he will want to say, were you unlucky again? So, he's a man on a mission in Edinburgh today, and the mission is to win, and win convincingly. And Nick Montgomery, as I say, will need to match him and his team for willpower, strong mentality.
Yeah, it seems to have a ruthless streak in him. Does come on, and just that little jibe at the end there suggests that he will be reminding his side of what's been said, and using it as ammunition. Now, he doesn't really need to, because the Rangers players know what's laid out in front of them. They know what an opportunity they've got. When you get to this stage of the season into March, and you're sitting top of the league, you're still in European competition with a great chance of progressing. You've already got one cup in the trophy cabinet, and this is your chance to go far, to get in a treble, then you need very little motivation. But he's got that as a wee bit extra. And today, I really do think Rangers will have too much for them. The danger for Hibs, I think, going from the last game at Easter Road's that midfield area. They got absolutely murdered in the midfield area. They were playing a different system that night. I wonder if Nick Montgomery's learned his lesson. He's changed the system a few weeks ago. I wonder if it will take on a similar shape today.
I think Hibs are better from them. Mark, I still expect Rangers to win this game, but I think Hibs have improved, and the reason you touched on there, they've put an extra midfield player in there and made it more solid, compact, and that's why I don't think Rangers will dominate as much in the Midley Park as they did the last time they were there. But I just think middle to front against a Hibs defence, probably the weakest part of their team, I think Rangers will have enough tonight, but I think it'll be close.
We're not too far away from kick-off. We will get Andrew McLean to build up again at Easter Road, but let's squeeze in a call quickly as well with Kevin, who's on the line. Kevin's a Celtic fan. How do you reflect on today, Kevin?
Honestly, I felt that in the second half there was only one team going to go and win it. You know, with the possession and the way that Celtic, I felt, dominated the ball. Yes, you're always susceptible with the two centre halves going in behind, but Livingston never really left them at the top to do that. You know, it was kind of backs to the wall stuff, and I felt that Celtic would always get a goal. I never expected them to get two, mind you, but you know, on another day where the chances they miss, it could actually have been 6 or 7. You know, the boy scores a great goal, but to put a wee bit of pressure on Celtic, but I felt that it should have been more comfortable than it was.
Yeah, there was a time in the first half, Mark, we certainly felt that as well. Celtic were knocking it about quite well. We commented on how Kuhn looked sharper and it all looked a bit quicker, and those combinations were there. It almost looked like it was the second goal spooked them a bit, but there actually was some good stuff in there. It just maybe didn't feel like it because the cup tie became quite tense towards the end.
Yeah, without doubt, in the first 45 minutes I thought it was good, particularly on this right hand side where I thought Kuhn kept his width, and I thought Alistair Johnson then got round him, and O'Reilly was involved in the play, and that little triangle was successful, no doubt about it. The amount of times Kuhn got to the byline, didn't quite pick the right ball, but the amount of space that he was getting, and they were, you know, the amount of entries into the penalty box, it was all good. You know, the movement was good, their speed of play was good, the goal they conceded was poor, no doubt, but they just couldn't continue that in the second period. When you lose a goal like you did, then it puts you in the back foot. But to contradict Kevin again, it didn't always look like one team was going to win it. Because you've got the lion's share of possession doesn't mean that it looks like it's a shoe-in, because Livy had probably the best opportunity, and Joe Hart makes a really important save. If that goes 3-2, then who knows where you would have been. But again, credit to Celtic, because they rolled up their sleeves. Yes, they did create one or two chances where Alistair Johnson's one's tipped over the bar and Maeda might have done better, but they kept going to the end. But moments in there, but that's the problem, they can't get it all to join up. That Dundee game has been the standout game. Even if you go back to Aberdeen early in the season where it was 6, a lot of that game wasn't quite joined up because a lot of the goals came late in the game.
You'd settle for a non-joined up 6-0 though, I'm sure.
You would, of course.
Kevin, it's been a bit of a mixed bag in the phones. First caller saying, you know, there's just this negative narrative, things aren't that bad at Celtic, focus on the positives. Then the next guy 2 minutes later phoned up and said, something not right with this team. Where do you sit?
I'm often agreeing with Hugh, mind you, but I've got to agree with what he said earlier regarding, you know, this narrative that, you know, Big Bad Brendan's changed everything. You know, he's right. He's certainly not. What he's doing is clearly something right, because what has happened on the other side of the city when the manager's changing his team, people are saying, oh, you know, he's doing well to get results and, you know, constant flow. You know, Brendan Rodgers been forced into changes that he wouldn't maybe not normally make or want to have in his team, and he's still managing to grind these out. You know, today's a cup tie. I know some people go on the bandwagon of, Livingston, you know, backs to the wall, and I think absolutely not. You know, the manager's clearly doing something right to get the best tune out of what he's got. He's clearly not happy with his squad. You know, he clearly doesn't feel that he's been backed by his narrative in the media during the transfer window. But to get what he's getting out of his squad, he clearly feels. I certainly feel that he's doing a good enough job at this moment in time. Would I like Celtic to be further in the league? Yes, but you know, they've scored 20, let's call it 25 goals in the last maybe 10 games.
The problem being The problem being, Kevin, that Celtic had an 8-point lead and now it's a 2-point deficit. And as things stand, it's so important to get the mainstays back. Carter, Vickers, McGregor, get Kyogo looking more like his old self, because for me, Kyogo went back to number 1 and Adamida to number 2 today. I think Kyogo is a better bet, but things change, and to be fair to Rangers manager, he's had every bit as bad an injury problem as Celtic have had, but he's gathered more points than Celtic, and that's because of the inconsistency that dogs Celtic. As Mark Wilson said earlier on, they don't look the same team in the second half that they did in the first half, and that happens quite a lot. So it's unsettled and it's unsettling for the fans, but until Brendan Rodgers is able to get his strongest 11, it will remain so, and he's still a long way away from having his strongest 11 at his disposal.
That's why it's going to be interesting to hear the very latest on Carter Vickers and Callum McGregor, Gordon.
Yeah, they need them back, there's no doubt. I did say that they should be able to beat Livingston without Carter Vickers and their leader McGregor, but it just shows you that how important they are, especially at the defence. Carter Vickers, I think he's an excellent defender. McGregor's the same. I totally agree with you. I think people think that we're criticising Celtic. I think it's a bit of a compliment from where they've came from and how they dominate it for years and years, and the style of football and everything about them. They're not firing in all cylinders just now. You look at today, that's a good result to get into the semi-final and move on from there.
And who will join them? Will it be Hibs or Rangers? Kick-off is next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
It's been an exciting day of Scottish Cup action already, but it's nowhere near finished. Celtic are through, beating Livingston in Glasgow. How can Rangers fare at Easter Road? Let's build up to kick-off with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, the rain hammering down here at Easter Road, much like it was on Thursday night when Rangers drew 2-2 with Benfica. Huge Rangers support over to my right. The home end just filling up at the moment as well. Every weekend at the moment, we're so used to Celtic and Rangers having to respond to each other on league duty, but today maybe has a bit of a feeling about that as well. Celtic have done their part to get into the last four. Rangers now will be desperate to join them as they continue to fight on all fronts. Plenty they can be pleased about during that midweek in Lisbon against Benfica. Maybe a bit leggy towards the end, so how will the same 11 cope with what should be another tough away game today? Although Philip Clement will be really happy with his record against Hibs since he came into the club. There was that 4-0 win when he first came in, and then last time Rangers visited here, a 3-0 win where they looked much the better side. Hibs will be looking for a better performance from those two games. I mentioned earlier they are a different prospect under Nick Montgomery at the moment, unbeaten in their last five, and the two draws that they had in that spell as well. They felt very aggrieved by some big game-changing refereeing decisions. There was that handball against Aberdeen that they never got a penalty for. There was a penalty awarded against them in the Edinburgh Derby as well that they felt wasn't a penalty, so they'll feel as if they could be coming into this game 5 wins on the bounce. However, it's 3 wins and 2 draws. The team's out on the pitch at the moment, the players shaking hands with one another. For Hibs, the home side, it's 2 changes for them. Miller and Venta drop out of the starting lineup. Triantis comes in, looks as if he'll be playing in midfield. Hasn't quite worked out for him in the centre of defence since he arrived in January. Looks as if it's a different role for him today. Chris Cadden also into the starting lineup for the first time since May after a long injury layoff. So David Marshall in goal for them. The back four: Chris Cadden, Will Fish, Rocky Bashiri and Jordan Abita. Nectar Triantis, the holding midfielder, with Nathan Mariah Welsh and Joe Newell alongside him. The front three: Emiliano Marcondes, Martin Boyle and Mayazine Mayalida. The substitutes: Wallacott, Hanlon, Levitt, Ewan, Mayenda, Stevenson, Lafondra, Yair and Whittaker. For Rangers, unchanged from that game in Portugal on Thursday night. So Jack Butland continues in goal. The back four: James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter and Ridvan Yilmaz. It will be John Lundstrom and Mohamed Diamandi, the two holding midfielders. Tom Lawrence will be in that number 10 role with Dujon Sterling and Fabio Silva either side. It's Cyril Dessers leading the line for Rangers once again. The substitutes: McCrory, Matondo, Roof, Davies, Balogun, Barisic, Raskin, McCausland and McKinnon. The referee for this one, Stephen McLean. The VAR, Stephen Kirkland. And as I look up now, the home stands are starting to fill up. Over to my left, Block 7 is the banner that has the Hibs supporters in it, who are in full voice clapping away. And over to my right, the Rangers fans give a big cheer as the players make their way into their positions. Mailida makes his way towards the ball, and we are just about to get underway for this Scottish Cup tie. Will it be Hibs or will it be Rangers joining Aberdeen and Celtic in the last four?
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. They're always looking for new people to join their community pharmacy team. Apply now.
Okay, what are we thinking then? You got close enough. I mean, you both, what you predicted 3-1, did you, to Celtic?
Yeah.
4-2. Okay, I'll give you that. That's not bad. It's
In
not
the
bad by
neighbourhood.
your standards. What about Hibs against Rangers?
Hibs 0, Rangers 3.
Wow, convincing. Mark Wilson.
One less. Hibs 0, Rangers 2.
2-1 Rangers.
Okay, well, let's find out, shall we? You can stay in touch on the phones. The lines are open. They're often open early on a Sunday on 01419511025. Of course, it's a bit of a different schedule. We've got the Rangers game to work our way through here as well, so we're not going to do wall-to-wall calls, but it'd be nice to dip in and out, see what you're thinking. And we'll hear from Brendan Rodgers very soon as well. Some interesting comments from him that you'll want to hear, I am certain. Is that an early
corner kick?
Corner to Rangers, is it?
Shabby defending.
Yeah, Desir's chasing down the defender, put him under a bit of pressure. I think Rangers, Clement will be delighted with that. Gives them an opportunity to test this defence.
Yeah, Rangers in the all blue, as they so often are when they go to Easter Road, and it's a good ball into that front post. Silva flicks it on, but still bouncing around. And if Rangers could convert early, that would be massive. But Lundstrom doesn't get on the end of it. There's a bit of confusion here because the Hibs players thought that was going out for a goal kick, but Lundstrom seemed pretty convinced that it had come off a Hibs player last, and it is a corner.
Yeah, Stephen McLean equally convinced that it come off the Hibs player last. So defensively, it's a sloppy start from Hibs. It's the concession of 2 unnecessary corners.
James Tavernier delivery tends to be on the money, so we'll see what he can produce here. It's
a poor one from him
by his standards, although on the opposite side the near post one did work. I think they were trying that again to get the Silva flick on, but someone was equal to it this time, and away it goes.
Training ground routine early on.
You'll never see one as good as Man City's today
That
this
was
afternoon.
brilliant.
Tune in for that.
Genius, isn't it?
Yeah, you think of the level of detail that goes into that. The analysts picking up where Liverpool are weak. You know, the players really buying into it. The wee nudge in the man at the front post area to allow De Bruyne, and then De Bruyne's ball. He started it right in the touchline, and to allow it to curl out, fantastic goal.
I suppose it's just about knowing how close you can get to bending the rules without breaking them.
Yeah.
Right, listen, this is where Alexis McAllister stands. So what to do is just nudge him out of that spot. Just move him from where he's standing, and then you can run into that spot and score.
Just fine details, in games.
Still Liverpool 1, Man City 1, 89, 90 minutes gone actually. It's been end-to-end stuff. Andy Robertson started on the bench but came on, and Liverpool, on the balance of chances, really should have won it. But there we go, that's loose from Rangers in the big game. Forget that nonsense. Forget the small insignificant matter of Man City's trip to Liverpool. We're all about the Scottish Cup here. Hibs 0, Rangers 0. Only 3 minutes gone. Not a great deal of note yet, we have to say.
No, I think
the corners from Rangers earlier.
Yeah, both teams just feeling each other out here just to see the pace of the game. Hibs tend to try and just put it long, put it in behind Rangers for Boyle, but offside. They know he's got bags of pace. One thing Hibs have got in their favour is they've got good pace in the flanks, but it'll be a good battle in the middle of the park tonight.
He's forever offside though, Boyle. You ever
terrible.
noticed that?
He's terrible.
I'm not sure he's actually off there when you see it back.
He's
It's very
onside
close.
there, yeah, but he always tends to go too early for somebody that's electric pace.
But that was unfair. He wasn't offside, I don't think.
Well, last time was that the last time he played in a cup tie against Rangers. He had a good evening, didn't he?
3 goals in 29 minutes, with Giovanni Van Bronckhorst about to take over the club, sitting at Hampden, shell-shocked.
Is that the night your driving instructor took charge?
Yes, it was. Yeah, David McCallum.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
In between Stephen Gerrard and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Yeah, it was quite the.
You say that as if that's like his current role. I mean, I've been driving for 17 years now.
He stepped up. They put out a notice. Anybody available to take the team?
It's astonishing the amount of water that's going under the bridge since then. Van Bronckhorst took Rangers to a European final, and then lost his job, and in came Michael Beale after the infamous visit to Ibrox, standing in the director's box, and then he lost his job. It'd be astonishing if Rangers were to win the treble in a season in which they sacked their manager.
Corner Hibs now, their chance to do something from the set piece.
Well, initially Tavernier just gets caught under it, allowed a beater
2v1
to get inside
to move
him
it quickly.
Yeah, and then Sterling has to concede the corner.
I'm finding that amazing. Rangers have switched off. Why does the Hibs players just 2v1 on you go? But they obviously want to test the Rangers defence early, put a ball in
something
there.
From the training ground, you think, coming up here?
No, this is just ball put into the box.
Not at all. Look at the way Bashiri and Fish are poised at the edge of the box.
And then the takers changed.
They're not quite sure who's taking this. Is this a ploy? Is it?
Oh,
yeah.
It's an in-swinger. They've changed
to take it now.
They've changed it from an out-swinger to an in-swinger. Mark, there it is there.
Oh, God, well, it's not worked.
Yeah.
Did I see him described as he Danish? The Danish Scott Allen in the paper today by one of his teammates.
That's an interesting.
It was one of his teammates. I can't remember who it was. Maybe Boyle. It was that described him like that.
Got to say, good defensive header for Golson. Rangers fans will be delighted to header the right direction this time.
Boyle's busy complaining for a handball. I don't think it was anywhere close to a handball. I think he's better than just reacting to try and win the ball in the Rangers penalty area.
And as is often the way, when you get a bit of territory against Rangers or Celtic, you then are at your most vulnerable, because you know they can pick you off. And Silva's been hauled down. It's a booking early on.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any doubt about it. Silva, great burst of speed here, going across. Is it Mariah Welsh? And just hauls him back.
That makes it a long evening, that does.
Right decision.
6 minutes gone into the book.
See how we say that Rangers started with the same 11. You're going, right, okay, what else could they have done?
That's Triantis, sorry.
Triantis,
yeah.
What else could they have done? Remember Matondo in this fixture here the last time, down that left hand side?
Yeah.
He was absolutely brilliant first half. But obviously the Benfica result, the performance, everything about it, same again I think for Rangers now.
Yeah, it's got a bit livelier there with Hibs getting that corner, forced a couple of uncertain moments, but here come Rangers into the box. Davy Marshall comes and grabs.
Fabio Silva looking to get on the end of that ball. He's certainly come on. I thought the quiet start at Rangers, but he's certainly come on.
Yeah, I think he could be classed as, one of the successes.
Yeah.
Got to say, when you see him midweek, he came as a number 9 or supposed number 9, wasn't quite sure of that, but the form of Dessers has maybe led to him being at the team more than he would like to be in the team. He's playing off the left now, but looks like he's got a real sharp burst of pace, good quality on the ball as well.
And this is where Hibs have to try and make something. They looked like they might have managed to break up the pitch, but they were sort of surrounded. That's slack from Connor Goldson. He's very fortunate to get away. He tried to pass it out from the back. It was cut out by a Hibs player, but he managed to win it back.
He's not his top of his game. He's come in for the first time for a little bit of criticism from the Rangers fans, you've got to say. We've had phone calls in the show, talking about that maybe the legs have gone, the usual one. Because when a manager doesn't win a game, it's he's lost the dressing room. When the player's having a bad time, his legs have gone. But I think Golson's a quality player, I really do.
You must have got that shout.
My legs
the legs have gone.
Yeah,
because that's what you relied on.
Did you ever lose a dressing room?
Never found it, but I never lost it. That's nonsense, all that rubbish. I don't buy into that at all.
Certainly committed, Hibs. They're giving it a go, as it would be demanded of them by their fans.
It was really good by Yilmaz. It's incredible how quickly he's cemented in the eyes of the Rangers fans, certainly that number 1 slot. But Hibs come forward, number 1 left back slot, Gordon, because you were a big Barisic fan. It took you a long time. You hung on longer than you should have, quite frankly, but you've now conceded that Yilmaz is the man.
I think Yilmaz has been absolutely terrific, Gordon. I'm not denying that. I still I still rate Barisic. I just think he's ended his Rangers career. Obviously they need to look forward. Yilmaz has went in there, been different class, so he deserves to hold that jersey. But Barisic has been a terrific servant for Rangers.
Good bit of tussling there between Dessers and Bashiri.
Well, it's nice and open, much like the game earlier on. Hibs, decent amount of possession so far, try to play through Rangers. No doubt Hibs have got dangerous players. They've got pace and wide areas as well, and with Boyle up front. But when they lose the ball, this is where Rangers could affect it. You know, bodies and into the box, and the quality that they've got, they can pick Hibs off, and that's been Hibs' problem this year. Nothing wrong with them going forward. It's their two centre halves. Really, when you look at Bashiri and Fish, just give up too many chances, too easy to play against. You wonder if Rangers can exploit that this evening.
It's a bit open, Mark. I'm very surprised at the space, especially in the middle of the park. As Hibs got a great opportunity
he's
here.
got to do better to put that across there.
Totally agree. I think he's got to at least cause problems there with that ball into the box. He'll be disappointed with that.
Yeah, encouraging for Nick Montgomery that Hibs are getting into areas, but if you're a pessimist, you might say that you don't get too many of those areas and you have to do better. Was it Martin Boyle felt he was fouled?
Yeah.
Did he have a case?
I think so.
I thought it was, yeah. To be honest, I think it was Abita should have done better to feed it across the 6-yard box as well.
Fans have been enjoying Obita in recent weeks though, so they'll be hoping that he can have a productive evening.
Well, without doubt, I mean, going forward, certainly. Again, Hibs, good players. They keep the width in the pitch. Nick Montgomery, certainly a tactic of his to keep it as wide as possible, to make it difficult for the opposition to play against. And it is incredibly hard if you've got guys who can stretch the game.
It's quite an open game, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Already.
Very open.
Inside 11 minutes. Yeah, there's getting it nicked back as well. Tom Lawrence. He's had a tough time with injuries since coming to Rangers, but he's getting a little bit of a run in the team now. I think the absence of Todd Cantwell's helping.
Good goal the other night there. The Rangers fans have really taken to him. I think he's a very clever player. You're right, I think injuries have held him back, but he's now starting to get a run of games, and I think he's an important player for Rangers in the middle of the park.
Is it too early to say one or two Rangers players look a wee bit
Yes.
Tired, yeah.
Oh.
Yes, it is. Even by your standards.
Yeah, no,
Go for it, Hugh.
if they weren't
It's
tired
never too
before
early.
it, they're not tired into it yet.
John Lindstrom looks tired to me.
Well, if you're a Hibs player, you've got to think that you've got to go into the game thinking that they might be leggy. If you're a Rangers player, then like we said earlier on, you're full of confidence. You know, you don't really get tired. And see, when you're playing well, results are going your way. Funny how that tiredness doesn't creep up you.
I'm not buying that tonight. I really am not buying that.
It's finished between Liverpool and Man City, 1-1 each. There was a 99th minute VAR penalty check for Liverpool.
Do you think any of them will sleep in the beds in the bus on the way home?
They will. On the city.
Probably fly from Liverpool to Manchester. Ball whipped in, Desser's near post. He just couldn't quite get the direction on it. Goes wide.
Chance though.
Yeah, without doubt. He's just beyond the front post. I think Yilmaz does well. He gets too much time to whip the ball in. Desser's just beyond the front post. He's trying to direct that volley on target.
I would be trying to flick that to the back post.
Yeah.
Just aim that to the back post and ask a question of the goalkeeper.
I would expect nothing less from a man like yourself.
Prolific striker.
Yeah.
Just open that foot up.
Yeah, just a wee sidey one to the back post. Look, the goalkeeper might just take it with ease, but might just ask a question.
I like the terminology. Just a wee sidey one. Erling, son, come here. You just need to do the wee sidey one that I used to do when I was at Man City. Here comes Fabio Silva into the box. He does well, drags it onto his left, flashes the ball, but no takers.
He looks like he fancies it, Silva. He's been really lively in the opening 14 minutes. Keep him wide, great first touch. When Cadden gets out of him, just shifts it twice and then right past him. Just needs to take a wee bit off that.
I totally agree with you, Mark. See if he takes a little bit off that. I think he's going for that. And he scored a good goal the other night at Benfica, made a terrific. His timing of the run was absolutely brilliant.
It's a good time to score your first ever senior goal, isn't it?
Incredible,
Away in the
that.
Europa League.
What a run it was.
You'll remember that, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, great finish.
Do you sometimes think that these guys are brilliant to have on one hand, and that you can fit in, but then can it hold a player back slightly in terms of long-term career prospects?
No specialised position.
Play everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, it's great
I was one of those, apart from the front areas. But I would get, even at Dundee United, going back to when I was a kid, I started as a right back. I then got moved into centre back in a 4. I then played the centre back in a 3. I then got played centre mid.
Wow.
Moved to right back, then at Celtic left back, and so on and so forth. So you never got to spend too much in one position. And Sterling's, well, he's even worse than me. He plays
left wing,
right wing, right back, centre mid.
They obviously gave you every opportunity
to
Mark,
get in the team.
to
any injury, you're going.
Wow. Rangers almost conceding. Jack Butland, I think it's his birthday today. Did I read?
Yeah.
He may well be in line for an England call-up, but this was not his finest moment. The ball got played back to him, and he just took the touch, couldn't get out of his feet, almost run it into his own net, and in the end gives away a corner.
Oh, that's incredible.
I've said all season, you can't imagine him even making a mistake. That's about as close as we've got to it, I think.
Yeah, he certainly gets away with one there. He just takes too many touches under a little bit of pressure. I've got to say, he's not used to that.
Chance for Hibs, but it's blocked in the box.
Yeah, without doubt, that just fell to a Hibs player in the box. Just tried to swivel on the half volley, but couldn't quite connect with it. So this is promising signs for Hibs at the minute. Again, good game, end to end action in both boxes.
Well, maybe if Jack Butland's making mistakes, you start to feel that it could be your night if you're Hibs, because that doesn't happen too often, Hugh.
No, it's an enthralling cup tie, and we're only 16 minutes in. Chances either end. This is an old-fashioned kind of Hibs Rangers game. That you get the impression that there's something about Hibs are better than they were in the earlier part of the season, and the psychology of playing the Rangers team who drew in Lisbon, is it going to backfire on Philippe Clement?
I think Hibs have settled it better, if I'm honest. There's not a lot in the game, but I think if you're a Hibs manager, Montgomery, you'll be quite happy the way your team have settled into this game.
Tell you what, they're certainly mobile, Hibs. When you look at them midfield to front, they're really mobile. There seems to be a lot of gaps opening up in between the Rangers players.
We did say that. You know, Joe Newley's into the box, he squares it across, but Connor Goldson, John Souttar, apologies, fires it clear.
Great defending by Souttar, good play from Newell. They fancy this tonight, you can tell. They're at it, as you say, Mark. They've got good movement, they've got good energy, got good pace, and they're getting into good positions there. He gets in, tries to cut it back, but that's top class defending from Souttar. Hits the post.
Yeah, when Jack Butland nearly gave it away, you're right, it did hit the post in the end.
Yeah, Maisy Malida almost robbing him there. You see the Arsenal goal last night, then Ramsdale gives it away, similar to that, only the opposite side, where the attacking player comes in and slide tackles him almost in the goal line. So an escape for the Rangers goalkeeper. He's been flawless so far this season.
It's funny because last night, this is not a deep point, I'm sure it was just sort of tongue-in-cheek anyway, when Aaron Ramsdale made that mistake, I'm sure I saw a few Rangers fans saying, like, pick Jack Butland over this guy. It was a very similar passage of play, but Jack Butland's didn't go in, I suppose, and Ramsdale's did.
He knew what he was doing. Yeah, he knew
always
his
in
angles.
control, I'm sure. Good to see Chris Cadden back into the Hibs team. Terrible injury towards the end of last season.
He's a big player for him. Was it Miller that played down the right hand side? And that's the one Matondo really gave a hard time to. Cadden, great energy, he can play in the back four, he can play in the wing backs, he loves to get up the park, good quality when he gets there as well, so he could be a big player tonight.
Joe Newell with a long throw here, the towel. Well, he certainly has.
Like it. I've never seen it. There we go. There's a rocket from Joe Newell right into the box.
Right into the middle of the 6-yard box. Well defended by Rangers. Fabulous touch.
Hibs asking a wee question here of Rangers.
You took a lot of throw-ins in your day, Mark Wilson. Were you particularly long at throw-ins?
That's often been
Hibs are in trouble. Dessers is robbed, and He's into the box and he chops back onto his left. Good save, David Marshall.
He chops back on his left and he gives Marshall the opportunity to close that angle down. But he does brilliant. Great work from, is it Dessers? Yeah, he puts pressure on the Hibs defender, gets a break of the ball. Brilliant there, and he just chops on there, and that gives Marshall the little bit of advantage to close the angle down because it becomes difficult. But very well played by Dessers.
A beater all over the place there. Yeah,
real difficulty.
Yeah, he's in two minds whether to play that back or turn it at the pitch. Before you know it, Dessers on him. A real opportunity from Dessers. But they've got another one here for a corner kick.
Yeah, Tavernier and Diomande take it short. Really poor from the latter, and Chris Cadden hacks it up the pitch.
I've not seen Diomande actually. I forgot he was playing until you just mentioned him there.
We're fed up saying it, Mark. If you're going to beat Hibs, it's certainly at the back they're poor. That's their weakest part of their side.
Oh, they give up chances so easily, and it's often their own doing. And tonight it's been similar. You know, even the corner kick they give away in the opening minute is from their player being sloppy, and again a beater there the same. So they need to just brush up on that.
Here come Rangers. Sterling's down in the box and it's a penalty.
There we are, a beater again. Just saying, I don't think there's any doubt. He gets the wrong side, Sterling. Honestly. It's a good run, and it looks like he clips Sterling. And Sterling, you know,
they're dreadful at back. Look, I think Montgomery will do a good job there, but as much as you can't argue with that. And by the way, Sterling's very, very keeps his body in front, says to the defender, if you're going to get anywhere near this, you need to bring me down.
Yeah, he's all over there. A beater knows he's the wrong side. First of all, he's got his hand on his shoulder anyway, but his legs certainly tangle Sterling's, and it's a dreadful error. I mean, he's obviously got his mistake.
They're going to take a look at a couple of things, you'd imagine, because I noticed that Hibs were complaining about Diamande's challenge on Boyle in at the start of the attacking phase of play, as they call it. So they'll have to go back to that as well. So this might not be a particularly quick one.
It's their only hope, Gordon, because that's a Stonewall penalty kick. You can't argue. That's a penalty kick.
He's certainly anything.
Yeah,
he's
penalty.
pointed the spot. Yeah,
given.
Yeah, I was going to say he's certainly anything nowadays. That was for me. With that as a Stonewall, but a beater. You know, he just gets done with a simple give and go from a throw in, and he just can't get back in.
James Tavernier, as always, he's going for his 22nd goal of the season. Didn't score midweek, but he scored a few
usually recently. Very reliable.
Short
but he's up against a guy that knows how to say penalty kicks.
Yeah, David Marshall. Just ask Alexander Mitrovic.
Yeah.
But it's a very short run up from Tavernier, but you know when he does that, he usually whips it, doesn't he? High.
I'm going goalkeeper's right, Tavernier's
top
left
corner. Okay.
And when he does that, you can't save them. Look at the one against Motherwell. But we'll see. Here he comes then. It's going to be James Tavernier for his 22nd goal of the season, unless David Marshall can have his say. And it is saved. And the rebound is in the back of the net, I think.
No, it's not.
It is. John
Lundstrom
bundles it in, so James Tavernier misses the penalty saved, but John Lundstrom bundles it into the back of the net.
And doesn't he look pleased?
Oh, he does.
He's not tired.
No. Who said that?
Do you know something? I've never seen anybody react so quickly as Lundstrom. He was right in on top of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, you've got to give him credit for that, because he's assuming.
I think they'll check this.
You think he's in too early?
He's in?
Gordon, I'm not getting in against him. He just goes so.
He comes from
no. But brilliant from Lundstrom.
He actually comes from deep.
Yeah.
He starts his run. He's miles outside the box.
He's just the first to react.
Yep.
He starts his run early, but it's from outside the D, and he gets there before Newell, before Bashiri, and bundles it into the net.
That's brilliant from them.
Yeah, I think he still is. Yeah,
it's brilliant from him. I've got
double
to
checking.
Say, he's the one. And do you know something? He's a Rangers player. You're probably sitting there going, Tavernier will probably stick this in the back of the net, but he's on his toes. The minute Marshall saves that, he's in like a shot. He reacts and gets his reward.
First blood Rangers, Hibs 0, Rangers 1. They're checking something again. I suppose it will be the goal's given. John Lundstrom gets there so early. I can see why Gordon Dalziel and others felt that maybe he had encroached, but he actually starts his run way back. He's a good bit outside the box when contact is made off the right boot of James Tavernier. And that, again, we talk about the importance of big moments in matches. Mark, if you'd offered Hibs that opening 20 minutes, they would have taken it. They've looked alright. They've caused Rangers one or two problems. They hadn't been worried too often at the back, but they find themselves a goal down.
Well, they caused their own issues yet again. We were just saying it moments ago. And again, going forward, they look dangerous. They look fluid. They were causing havoc a bit in the Rangers backline, but they get punished. Dessers again, now this is the funny one, because the kick-off right from the start, the exact same happened. I don't know if it's a Hibs player blocking his run to stop him getting to the centre back when they take centre, but it's happened again, and he's went down twice, and he spoke to the referee twice. Nothing's came of it, but he's taken a couple of sore ones. It seems he's taken a couple of sore ones anyway. He's hit the deck.
Anyway, that's the tie over. So
let's go home. Been a long day.
It was always going to be the case that I always felt if Hibs scored first, then I'd give them a greater chance of pulling off the shock. But now that they're a goal down, my impression is that they've got much less of a chance.
I think you've just went a bit quick there. It's only 25. Look, it's a great start from Rangers, and you can't argue the fact it is a penalty kick. And here it comes
again.
It's
a very similar move, and it's fired off the chest of David Marshall.
Well, we were talking about the Livy right back today with Maeda making the same mistakes. Abita's the exact same. Abita's done the exact same as he conceded the penalty. Caught the wrong side. Sterling, you've got to say, a willing runner in that inside right channel, and he's off the Hibs left back too easily.
No, you've got to match their runs. If you're a Hibs manager, you will be screaming at your player. But all credit to Sterling. You're talking about Thursday night tiredness. He's making run after run after run, and he's causing all sorts of problems. He gets his goal on Thursday night, as you say, Gordon, his first one. The confidence that must be giving him. He's been a very, very good signing for Rangers.
Just seeing the incident back that Hibs felt hard done by. They felt that Diomande fouled Boyle before it got to the penalty. Anything in that?
No.
Is it not similar to the decision that's given in the end?
No, I don't think that's a free kick. I really don't. I think Boyle makes the most of that. And I don't know if his reputation goes, because was it John Hughes that once said when he was Ross County manager he'd speedos on when he went down, dived. But I think that I would have been very surprised if that was given against Rangers.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't think it was a foul on Boyle. I think he gets himself in front of Diomande, but for whatever reason he chooses to go down, and Rangers then form the attack from that leads to the goal. I think with the penalty kick, there certainly was a tangle of legs.
Bit of a flashpoint. Former Hearts defender, of course, that'll add to it. John Souttar on Marcondes. The foul initially, but then Marcondes acting as if something's been left on his head thereafter. So we'll need to get a second look and a third and fourth and so on before anyone can decide for sure.
Those players not too happy with.
So it's Diomande with the pull, and as Marcondes falls, he's just kind of tussling with Souttar. They both go to ground. No, that's nothing really in that.
My, that's nonsense. Oh, that is embarrassing.
You wonder why players,
especially know the cameras.
When that happens in a split second, your first thought is, I'm going to grab my face and try and con the referee into something that then will get looked at anyway in VAR, and the right decision will be made. Just go on with it. You can't have contact to the face without it being a red card or an incident that requires any further action.
Yeah, that wouldn't have taken long for VAR to have a look at and wave on its way. I think John Souttar's hand sort of on Marcondes' face as they fall, but didn't look like there was much there for you, Gordon, either.
Not at all. And I was quite the Hibs players surrounded Souttar, but he was very calm, collective. He knew he'd done nothing wrong. He just walked away. He didn't want to get involved, and I think the Rangers manager would have been happy with that. But there's a wee fight in Hibs. They're up for it, but Rangers just now, they're in command of the cup tie. But we've seen today It just takes a second, a set play, whatever it means, a bit of magic, and all of a sudden the home side could be back in the game. But 30 minutes nearly on the clock, I think Clement will be quietly happy.
I think he'll be more than happy. Yeah. I think he'll be more than happy going away to Easter Road on a Sunday evening, you know, after the trip to Portugal, and you're 1-up in half an hour. And by the way, the game is open, so you'd fancy yourself grabbing a second before half time.
He's always on about hunger, and he's getting hunger from his players, and the weight of our second goal as well.
Yilmaz's got to do better there.
Barisic would have just knocked over the top for something.
Barisic wouldn't have got there. You've got to say this is a real asset the Rangers have got now. When Yilmaz takes off on that overlapping run just in the 18-yard box, and Silva plays him in, but he's got to get the cross right. He's just miscues.
I think Rangers are using the wide areas very well, Mark. I think they're causing a few problems, especially Sterling down the right. Making some great runs. Silva, when he gets on the ball, he's very positive, backed up with Yilmaz doubling up. So down the flanks, Rangers are causing problems tonight.
Yeah, Tavernier missed that penalty, but Lundstrom scored the rebound. Tavernier now with the corner. Don't forget, you can give us a call. It's on 01419511025. Just a bit of a strange schedule this. Just imagine the surprise, the delight. You're coming home from Mother's Day dinner, perhaps you switch on Clyde 1 and you get these three.
Or you've been for lunch and dinner and you switch on and you're going, are they still on?
Yeah,
I've had 2 meals since they were on. Yeah.
Oh, there's a problem here at the edge of the box. Diamandi.
Yeah, I think he's alleging that somebody whacked him off the ball. Is he? I'm not sure.
Is he holding his leg, or is he holding something else?
Yeah.
Is he?
What else is he holding there? What do you think?
I thought it did look like there's something else, quite frankly, but we'll see. We'll see in a minute. I think that's going to be a goal kick, but Hibs thought they had a corner. Bit of frustration there. Hibs trying to build a bit more momentum again. They started quite well.
I think he's holding his hamstring.
Do you know what? He is in a bit of pain by the looks of it.
I really do think he's holding his hamstring on.
See if we can get a look.
Where is he? Yeah, it's his hamstring. I'm telling you now, his hamstring goes.
Oh, that is a huge worry. Oh, it's not. It's
Sterling.
It's Sterling.
It's
yeah, Diamandi was on the edge of the box as well, but it's Sterling that goes down, clutching the hamstring. And Mr. Utility Man, who's had to plug gaps everywhere because of everyone else's injury, he's gone down, holding the hamstring.
When we talk about tiredness, we automatically think just your legs are tired and your mind's tired. However, muscle fatigue can sometimes creep
on right away.
Yeah, Ross McCausland on right away. Rangers' injury record this season has been remarkable, not in a good way.
Do you know something? You can look at that, because his first 30 minutes he's been up and down that right side numerous amounts of times.
High speed runs, yeah.
Yeah, you're just hoping that's just a bit of tiredness, a bit of real sore cramp that's went in. But
no, that's a hammy.
Do you think that hammy's away, do you?
Aye. But it depends how bad it is.
Yeah,
grade 1, 2 or 3, or if it's a one that, what are you talking, a couple of weeks, but still you'd rather him in the side. You see how effective he is in this opening half hour. He's ran off the back of a beater twice, got a penalty once, could have been in the second time. So he's a big miss, Sterling. And remember, he has a replacement for the others that have dropped out through injury. So McCausland, on to replace him, and the Rangers squad's getting thinner and thinner.
With the games coming up, that's a massive blow. He's been excellent.
The start that he made to the game tonight, winning the penalty, looking as if he was going to be a major problem for Hibs down that side of the park, and now it's all over for him.
Yeah, that would be a concern for me if I was a Rangers manager. I think he's been a terrific addition to the squad. I really do. As you boys quite rightly say, he can play in numerous amounts of positions, never lets you down. So it'll just be interesting, get in there and get it iced and see how long he's going to be in the sidelines for.
Got a hug for a Big Phil on the way off.
Yeah.
Well, he always has these consultations with the players when they come off. It's one of his characteristics as manager, and they all seem to respond to it.
Just the athleticism, though, that comes out the Rangers team, because especially those European games, and maybe more suited away from home, but Ross McCausland's extremely different, Gordon. That's credit to Sterling that he's managed to go and play there, but like I say, the athleticism that he brings that others don't.
Yeah, Sterling's a stronger running type player than McCausland. McCausland's more of the winger type, the tricky winger. He obviously is a big recovery. He went home in crutches not that long ago, so Rangers fans and everybody will be delighted he's back on the pitch. Under Clement, he was a starter every single game, so it's not like they're bringing someone on that's not really been involved. This guy's been involved in most of the games and the big games, but he brings them something different for me. I think Sterling honestly is a big miss to Rangers.
No, without doubt. Just going back there a few moments again, Boyle again, very similar dive. You've got
yeah, and Stephen McLean had a word with him, told him to
see if you were the manager,
cut it out.
Say, go stop doing that, and just you're in front of the Rangers player. Just get on with the game. You know, it's never going to come to anything. It's not in a dangerous position. You're not trying to con the ref to win a penalty, which would be bad enough.
Did you ever dive, Mark, in your career?
Never.
You booked for, you get sent off, did you?
No, I got booked for diving, but it wasn't a dive. I got clipped. I got clipped at Ibrox.
Oh, Ibrox.
Absolute incompetence for the referee on that day. If we had VAR, it would have been looked at.
Are you allowed to say that? Because you are a club official, remember?
Yeah.
You get a notice of
so
complaint.
I'll get listen.
You're
I
the
didn't mean
Partick
it.
Thistle
If
under
the
18
SFA are listening, I was only joking.
Boyle, remember, was the first booking of the VAR regime at Easter Road. He was looked at,
yeah.
and he got a booking for simulation, and he's still doing it.
I'm there. Did you nearly fall off the chair?
No. Well, my pen fell. I was excited there. Yeah, he needs to take that out of his game, because it's a reputation you do not want to be tagged with, to be honest with you.
I'm impressed with we're talking about Rangers being tired and having to go again in a long shift, and it's maybe paid off in a negative sense for Dujon Sterling's muscles. You guys must have had a real heavy weekend to have to come back here and go again on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. You must have been like primed athletes, wrapped up nice and early last night.
The amount of chocolate they put away, the pair of them, I think I get to understand. I even had to ask my two youngest grandchildren last night.
There you go, Hugh.
If Gordon Dalziel's habit of putting two different types of chocolate in his mouth at the same time was acceptable, and they said, "Oh yeah."
There you go. I've got a lot of.
You're a big child, basically.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Oh, you were away to the cinema, actually. Come on, then.
Oh, aye. Right, okay, let's do a film review.
Film critic Bob Marley.
Yeah, listen.
What's it actually called? Is it called Bob Marley?
One Love.
No, One Love.
One Love, Bob Marley. How would that? A lot of smoking in it.
Well,
it shows that. He seemed to like a cigarette, or I don't think it was regular tobacco in that, but he seemed very loose with his moves. A poor film. A poor
bit of
portrayal.
concern here, actually. Easter Road. I think Martin Boyle he certainly looks out cold, actually.
I think it's John Suter and Martin Boyle.
I don't detect much movement from Martin Boyle, so hopefully everything's okay. We get the doctors and the medical team on to deal with that. Mark Wilson's film review will have to
On
wait.
hold. Yep, people waiting with bated breath here, but
Yeah,
Don't
more
spoil it
important.
for us. Does he die then?
Well, you did ask if Bob Marley was in the film this afternoon.
Well,
and I
he
said,
could have
well,
been.
He did,
did
didn't
have to
I
exhume him from
I thought-
1981.
I thought I overheard that in the
No,
office. He did
no.
ask, didn't he?
No,
He
did
said,
not.
"Is Bob
He
Marley
said that
in
you
the
said,
film?"
is he in it?
No, it did not. No, it's not.
And that's not to be funny or anything. That's just me and him chatting. Was Bob Marley in it? No, he died. He died before I was born. So
Yeah,
no, he
the
wasn't
Beatles
in.
have broken up, yeah.
Yeah,
That's fine. Just double
You big
check.
into Bob Marley songs or that?
one or two in my time.
Aye. There's a lot in there that I didn't know about his life, but if you're thinking music biopic, if you're thinking Elton John Rocketman, if you're thinking Bohemian Rhapsody,
It's not on that level.
A patch. No, so don't go and see it.
I bought a Bob Marley record once.
What did you buy here?
I bought No Woman, No Crime.
I like that.
It's just the record, just that,
Yeah.
just a single.
Yeah.
Nothing
How
wrong
much
with
does
that.
just play it over and over again?
If you like it enough.
With a glass of red wine or anything there?
If there's a wine
Anything
in the
else?
day.
Oh, stretcher's getting called
Yeah,
for.
a real concern here for Martin Boyle. It's a head knock. It looked like a heavy one. And the reason we're just talking nonsense around that is because I don't really like to speculate. I don't think it's up to us to suggest what has or hasn't happened. But let's just say he took a whack on the head, a collision, and there wasn't much movement initially. And I think the stretcher's on as evening. it will be over, which will be a blow in a football sense.
It's a big blow for both Rangers and Hibs tonight, and it's not even half time. Rangers lost Sterling, and obviously Hibs, they depend so much on Boyle, terrific player for them, and it looks like his night has ended as well. So both teams suffering a bit of a blow.
Well, without doubt. I mean, Boyle, for all his criticisms that we were giving him, is certainly a top player, and you know, your main goal threat really from a Hibs point of view. He's been a terrific servant to Hibs, and he's going to be a big miss, and you just wonder how long that takes you. You know, we obviously don't know what the injury is, but if it is a head knock, you're looking at concussion
I think
protocols.
it's safe to say sometimes you can tell the fact that the TV cameras are not really showing it and are staying far away.
Who was it? John Suter?
Yeah.
And John Suter's back on his feet, yeah, so yes.
So Martin Boyle certainly going to leave the game. Hopefully he's okay. Hibs just assessing their options. Somebody's getting ready at the back of the dugout. Can't quite see who it is at the moment.
A real bad season for head knocks. You know, you remember Danilo straight away, Alistair Johnston at Celtic, and now sadly Martin Boyle. But you're right, Gordon, I think television is keeping a discreet distance from this.
Yes, now up to Nick Montgomery and his staff to find a solution, I suppose. There is no direct Martin Boyle replacement, you would have to say. Very few players have got his pace.
I don't think he'll look to change the system. I think obviously it's the personnel that'll need to change, but because, you know,
Ellie Ewan, maybe.
Yeah, but bit of pace as well, tricky.
Tavares, or Lafondra's on there.
I'll tell you what, whilst there's a serious lull in play here, why don't we hear what Brendan Rodgers made of the Celtic game? We were going to do that anyway, but it seems like a fine opportunity to just check in with what he made of the victory against Livingston.
But the way we got into the semi-final, which was great, so I think it's credit to the players for that. They dug in and they kept fighting, and got to give a big credit to Livingston, because it's been a really difficult season for them, but they came here, they made it really difficult. We didn't close the spaces anywhere near what we would want, and the level and speed of our game was, you know, not to where we would want. But I'm also understanding of that. Some of the guys coming in maybe not playing so much recently, and the level of play that's missing, but the guys, they fought to the very end. The scoreline looks more comfortable than what it actually was, but we're in the hat, and I'm really, really happy for that. I think all our creativity was on the right side and the finishing was on the left. Nicholas, much more what we want to see. He's finding his strength now, and coming in sort of in his break from Rapid Vienna, plus obviously the issues he had medically when he came in, so he's getting his strength back, and it was much more like what we'd want, the speed and directness. Made a great cross for one of Dyson's goals, but Dyson was there to finish and showed a great desire and mentality, and could have had more than 3 goals. So yeah, his goals were very, very good.
Yeah, I think he's been accurate there. Celtic had to dig in. Credit to Livingston for the way they approached the game. Again, Brendan Rodgers gone on the speed of Celtic's game, not really up to the mark, but he also referenced the level of player missing, and that goes back to my point about Hatate, McGregor, Carter Vickers, etc. And also very honest to say that the scoreline at the end of the day was flattering.
I think he was right when he said everything was created down the right and the goals were scored on the left. Look, he sounds quite happy to be in the semi-final, rightly so. It wasn't their greatest performance, we're not going to be kidded with that, but cup football is all about winning, getting yourself in the hat, and then taking the next round.
I think I brought you into that clip with a few seconds cut off the start. Let me just double check what the opening line was in case it was anything particularly profound.
Credit to the players. It wasn't the performance that we would want, but the way we got into the semi-final, which
it was quite an important line in the end, actually. I just wondered, a sense that the shift in tone when we came into the clip, I wondered what his opening few words had been. So he's acknowledging that wasn't the performance they were looking for.
No, he's taking the pragmatic view. It wasn't a great performance, but they are in the draw, which is infinitely preferable to going out at home to Livingston.
Can I just say, a really, really lengthy delay this after a head knock to Martin Boyle. With every minute that passes, I think our requirement to wish Martin Boyle well grows, because this is not straightforward at all. We have been stopped for quite some time at Easter Road, and just now I think Martin Boyle's stretcher is finally being lifted. He's been on the deck for quite some time. The medical staff were straight over. I don't know if that is I think is that oxygen I can see over there. So like I say, I don't really want to speculate and give any false information. Anyway, hopefully Martin Boyle is okay. Mark Wilson always worrying.
Yeah, certainly is. The length of break, you see him getting stretchered off and not much movement there. Medical teams, both of them, really quickly onto the scene. And we wish him a speedy recovery, no doubt about that. And he's going to be a huge miss for Hibs. But
not going round the track and into the tunnel, going straight out of the park, and I can only imagine that he's going straight out to be hospitalised.
Yeah, that is the corner of the ground, where the coach and the ambulances would park. So we wish him all the best, and the game now continues. It's up to the players now to get back up to speed. There's going to be a lengthy amount of injury time at the end of this first half added on.
Well, they have no other option. You just wonder about the effect on players of something like that.
Here's a chance here.
Doesn't come to much. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of waiting around. I noticed Neil Warnock's one of his parting comments was that he felt that the VAR delay made these players, cold, if you like, and stiff standing around at St Mirren last week, and felt they should have warmed up again before that started. But anyway, 9 minutes added at the end of this first half, so that tells you everything you need to know about the length of the delay. Yeah, and
the players have to get their head round the fact that they're still in a football match here, and find out about Martin Boyle when they do eventually get in for the half-time break. But Martin Boyle, I'd imagine, is now on his way to hospital.
Yep, but back to the game, and Hibs have got to find a way of getting themselves alive again. They started well. You've got to say they started positively. They looked like they were working Rangers, getting into the attacking third. Then bang, the goal comes, and they've sort of went into their shell. They've never really created anything meaningful after that. And even again with that set piece, they've got a set piece 45 yards for goal, central area, and they go too soon. Their attackers go too soon. It's offside, so it comes to nothing. So they've not been able to mount any serious attack on this Rangers defence to put them under any sort of pressure.
Yeah, the nearest they've came is when Jack Butland was a little bit slack and gave an opportunity, and Hibs hit the post. But Rangers haven't asked a great deal of David Marshall. But the most important thing is, as we said about Celtic and Cup football, they're in the lead, and so far I think Clement will be quite happy with the situation just now. But I think there are more goals in this game. I think it's too open a game.
I suppose decent depth in one regard for Hibs, that in those areas they can bring Ellie Ewan on.
Well, good depth in their squad. They have, and he's got good pace and he's direct. Tavares as well. He was on the bench. You've got Venti as well. So Hibs have got a good squad. Really have. I mean, they're strong in the forward areas. Again, I'll keep going back to it. They're strong in the forward areas, but they continually pick Fish and Bashiri at the back. And although they've not been a problem tonight, it's been Abita who's been caught out. That's been the problem in the league for them. Too many mistakes at the back. If it's not Fish, it's making that, or Bashiri. Tonight it's Abita. Next week will be somebody else. So I think the rest of the team gets a wee bit disheartened from that.
Did you see Dylan Venti, just as you mentioned them? Did you see the confusion over his international credentials the other day?
Who is it he represents?
Well, he was surprisingly called up to the Suriname squad.
I thought I read that.
But then minutes later the squad was published again and he wasn't in it. So he is eligible. I think is that a Dutch colony, I think so, for former Dutch colony, certainly I should say. And he is eligible, but apparently hasn't made a decision yet, something like that. So he could play in the future. But yeah, he was called up and then not called up within the space of a couple of minutes. So that'd have been a good beat the pundit question. Do you know what? I can ask you on Tuesday who Dylan Venta was called up by. You won't get it.
Ask me in 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's a bit like my Scotland career, that called up and then all of a sudden not called up. No explanation. See you later.
We always talk about the one cap that you got.
Yep.
How many squads were you part of apart from that?
I think overall I was chosen for maybe 4 or 5.
Right.
Just shows
sat
you
on the
how-
bench once.
Just
had to
shows
pull
you
out
how
the other
far
side.
It was in that Carling Nations Cup or whatever.
the big
you got
one.
your-
The big
you got
one,
your
yeah.
cap. Were
Before
any
we
of
got
the
to the
others,
Euros and that.
were any of the other squads competitive games?
No.
We always used to play. We don't do friendlies anymore. I've almost forgotten what it was like, or we don't do many, I should say. We do some this month, ironically. But
it was a good friendly I was on the bench for. But still, if you're going to be on the bench for friendlies, that's the one.
Yeah. Just shows you how far we've come as a nation.
Good effort.
Great effort there.
Diamandi lets fly.
Yeah.
He scored a couple already.
He's not shy, is he? He's not shy for the edge of the box. He backs his own ability. I think this one's on his left foot, just rolls it and then just decides I'll have a go. Marshall was a bit concerned. Good dive, but was always rising too high.
To try and explain this properly, it was a weird strike that it like
very little backlift,
but it looked like it didn't have much pace, and it almost like picked up pace, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, towards the end. And
Can certainly strike a ball though, can't he? He's not shy.
almost had David Marshall worried, but didn't come to much. We are 5 minutes into the 9 added on, and Chris Cadden's had a bit of a.
I think the goalie's got to come and
At
get
the
that.
back post.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was in the air for a while.
That ball's came 65 yards for James Tavernier diagonally, and it's landed in your penalty area. The goalie's got to come and get that. And I think Cadden's maybe expecting his goalie to come and get it, and before you know it, confusion, it drops, and it's an opportunity for Rangers. Yeah.
Well, Rangers, following the lengthy break for treatment to Martin Boyle, Rangers have emerged from that the stronger of the two sides, looking to get another goal before half time that would really put them in a dominant position.
Anyway, back to the film review last night. you know the
I'm
most
bombed
interesting part and the most entertaining part of it was the lights got in, and people at that time, the Saturday night, you can get a bevy in there, Hugh. Now you can get a wine or a beer, and people wear. But somebody went to the toilet, and you move your legs to let them pass. It's the old recliners, and then came back into our row 5 minutes later, walked all the way along, and everybody move again.
Carry.
And no, they sat in somebody's lap. They were in the wrong row. I was honestly, I was the best part of the
I would
film.
suspect.
Well, this man to my left, he might be no stranger.
Do you know what the biggest revelation for me was? Because you went to the cinema for the first time in ages last week. You were telling us.
Hope you're going out.
And you forked out, you remortgaged the house, and you got a pick and mix. This guy, he's played in the Champions League. He brought his own sweets. He was one of them. Smuggled them in his pocket.
Without doubt, I won't give them the
away.
money. I won't give them the money. I went into Sainsbury's, couple of chocolate bars,
other supermarkets are available,
and some Haribo, couple of bottles of Coca-Cola.
None of the Champions League money left. Just throw that at
That's
the
all
pick and
gone.
mix.
I spent that in speedboats and caravans.
So you did.
And then, but I did get a popcorn, and you add on an extra £1, and you put M&M's in the top of it. Oh,
athletes in here, eh?
Magnificent.
Talking about the important things on a Sunday night. But listen, don't blame us. There's 9 minutes added at Easter Road. We had not legislated for this.
It's the chat people want on Mother's Day, and I've still got a piece of popcorn stuck in my tooth just now. Can I get it out? How annoying's that?
Your Uncle Gordon will take a look at it during the break. He says,
no thanks.
He's got a wee toothpick in his pocket. He'll help you out with.
I bet he has.
Especially the people are sitting down having their dinner. That's how annoying it is.
I know.
The
I'm usually
Rangers
sitting down
asking
to Sunday dinner.
Are you missing a nice Sunday roast to be here?
I don't really have a Sunday
Lamb,
roast.
do you know?
Nah, I'm not.
I noticed a nice bit of beef lying on the worktop as I left to come in here and spend it with you guys.
You'll get that later, will you not?
Hopefully.
9 o'clock at night.
Hope this
Dinner.
doesn't go extra time.
I know. Well, we're going to have an extra 10 minutes added on anyway at the end, at least.
So there was a ball in by Diamandi. I think people maybe assumed that
He's got to have pulled fish here.
I think Dessers did. He sort of
very minimal contact, but it might have been a slight tug.
Went wide anyway in the end.
Yeah, but a decent ball in, curling into that back post area.
Dessers just caught fish on his way by, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Reeled him in.
Okay.
54 minutes gone at Easter Road.
It's a long day.
Half 6 and we're still going.
And the first half is still underway. Rangers go long. Silva is a willing runner, but so's Chris Cadden, and there was no danger anyway. It was always going through to David Marshall. That's us pretty much done the 9 minutes. It is a minimum of 9, remember. So we'll get the half-time report from Andrew McLean soon. There's not been a lot in this first half at all. James Tavernier's penalty was saved. John Lundstrom's rebound, the difference between the sides, and a long delay because of a nasty head knock to Martin Boyle, who's gone off, and we wish him well. The half-time whistle has gone. Let's speak to Andrew McLean.
Hibs 0, Rangers 1, the half-time score. Good game this at Easter Road so far. John Lundstrom scoring the only goal going into the break. Really open in the early stages, and throughout really both teams finding a lot of space, not able to do much with it early on. Hibs with a better territory in the first 10 minutes or so, but it was Rangers that had the first opening. Cyril Dessers with a volley from Ridvan Yilmaz's cross, but he couldn't direct that one on target. So close to an early goal for Hibs. After that, Jack Butland getting the ball stuck under his feet, basically on his own goal line. Mailida sliding in, the ball bouncing off the post, back off Butland, and then out for a corner. Butland really getting away with one at that point. End-to-end stuff. Cyril Dessers then robbing Jordan Abita. He drove into the box, chopped onto his left foot. David Marshall saved his shot on the angle. Not a great few minutes for Abita, because at that point he clipped the heels of Dujon Sterling, who was driving into the box. Stephen McLean pointing to the spot. Penalty to Rangers. James Tavernier stepping up. You expect the net to bulge most of the time, but this one saved by David Marshall. However, back into a dangerous area, I should say. John Lundstrom was first to it, bundling the ball home for 1-0. A few minutes later, Dujon Sterling driving into the box, the exact same position really. This time he got a shot away. David Marshall saving on this occasion. A worrying event after that though. Martin Boyle going down after a heavy collision with John Souttar. He was down for a long time, getting treatment by both sets of physios, eventually being stretchered off. A lot of injury time having to be played after that. Mohamed Diamande with the only real shot in those 9 added minutes. That one went over the bar. Pretty tight overall, but Rangers do have the advantage at the break. The half-time score, Hibs 0, Rangers 1.
Well, you know, it's been a good first half for Rangers. They look to be the better side. Hibs have to go over so many things now. They thought they'd got a real break when David Marshall saved the penalty. John Lundstrom racing in to make sure they didn't get a break at all. And then the Martin Boyle affair. Been difficult for Hibs. We've got to regroup second half, but if Rangers get the first goal of the second half, it's all over.
Yeah, I think Clement will be obviously the happiest manager going in, you know, looking at what he had to deal with on Thursday and then coming into this game, picking the same side. But I think he's had the same energy. I think Hibs started it okay, actually, in fairness, and I think they moved the ball a bit okay, and they got 1 or 2 opportunities. But Rangers do look dangerous on the counter-attack. You've got to say that Silva on this left-hand side looks in the mood. Yilmaz has got round him a couple of times, and but for a better ball may have created better opportunities. And then the goal that they get, it's all about energy from Sterling, running off the back of Abita. It looked like Abita had played on Thursday night and not Sterling. They get the penalty and get themselves in front.
Yeah, I think the game's still firmly in the balance, Gordon. It's been a good cup tie. I think it's been a very open cup tie, which I'm quite surprised at. And I think there'll be more goals in the second half, and it's going to be who gets the all-important next one, because if Rangers get it, you would imagine they're in the draw for the semi-finals.
Yeah, Andrew, I would guess a bit of a worrying feeling around Easter Road with that lengthy delay after a head knock to Martin Boyle.
Yeah, certainly a big worry for everyone in here. You never like to see it when a player spends so long down on the surface. Both sets of medical staff were quick onto the pitch, both helping out Martin Boyle. An anxious wait really for everyone in this stadium. And of course, eventually the medical staff had done their jobs. Martin Boyle was on the stretcher and made his way off the pitch. So we all wish that Martin Boyle, you know, a speedy recovery from whatever it was. You know, don't want to speculate too much, hard to tell. It was a hefty collision really at the edge of the box between John Souttar and Martin Boyle. I think John Souttar then did land on Martin Boyle, just the way that their bodies came together. But Martin Boyle off on a stretcher. I'm sure he'll be receiving more treatment at the moment.
What about the Hibs staff, players, fans? Were they angry at the award of the penalty? Did they feel a sense of injustice?
Yeah, I think certainly the Hibs players were angry. They were right up at Stephen McLean giving the award. There was an instant on the halfway line which was right at the start of the attacking phase of play, one of those phrases that you hear referees use, and it was Mohamed Diamande winning the ball back off of Martin Boyle. A lot of Hibs fans, a couple of players were claiming for a free kick at that point. Rangers then worked the ball out over to the right hand side. Sterling drives into the box, Abita clips his heels and Stephen McLean points to the spot straight away. There was 4 or 5 Hibs players straight over at Stephen McLean, pointing over to that area, saying that they felt that there was a foul that the VAR needed to go back and check. There was a lengthy check, so the VAR, Stephen Kirkland, would have gone back and had a look of that. They've clearly decided that it wasn't, in this occasion, a clear and obvious error.
What did you think of the penalty award?
I said at the time, and I'll stick by it, my opinion, I thought it was a clear-cut penalty kick. I thought the defender got caught wrong side. Sterling, terrific run into the box. Yes, you can go back and look at the Boyle challenge. I still think that was fine. So I think it was the right decision. And it was unlucky for Hibs because David Marshall makes a great save from Tavernier, but all credit to Lundstrom, came from nowhere, quickest to react, and puts his side 1-0 in at half time.
I'm the same. I don't think you can argue with it at all. Firstly, I didn't think it was a foul on Boyle. I thought Diamande got there fine. I thought Boyle went down easily. And then when the ball goes to the opposite side, Abita just caught ball watching. And you look at Sterling, you've got to give Sterling great credit because he recognises where the space is. He recognises that Abita doesn't know where he is, and his athleticism and his speed and his directness to get off the back of him has to be commended. His first touch is good, and by that point Abita knows he's in the wrong position and his leg get tangled up. So I don't think there can be any argument. And then it was just a penalty. How close was Lundstrom to being in the box? But I think he times his run perfectly well, and he's the first to react.
Yeah, the loss of Sterling important for Rangers because he'd started the match in electrifying form. You thought that he was going to be a major thorn in the side of the Hibs players, and then pulls up. And we'll find out afterwards if Philippe Clement is of the opinion that's a throwback to the Benfica game midweek in Lisbon, or something else. But
I think he's evened himself up, Hugh, with the. You look at Sterling. I think Sterling's big loss. I think he's been terrific. Every time he's come in, I think he's been terrific. But if you look at the Hibs situation, Boyle's a massive loss to them as well. Yeah. So I think we're in for a very interesting second half. The next goal is so important.
Yeah. And we'll find out what happens in the second half because it's coming next.
This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
The fastest goals. The expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in quarter final 2 of the day, 3 over the weekend. Aberdeen are through, Celtic are through, Rangers are partly way there. They're 1-0 up at the break at Easter Road. There was 9 minutes added on. A nasty head knock for Martin Boyle. James Tavernier missed a penalty. John Lundstrom put in the rebound though, and that's the goal that separates the sides. You just wonder, Andrew McLean, Philippe Clement didn't see any need to change the starting 11 off the back of the exertions of Thursday night, but you wonder if that comes into it soon with substitutions.
Yeah, you do wonder that. Rangers did look a bit leggy towards the end of the game on Thursday. He definitely would want the same to happen in this game. It just depends what options on the bench he thinks are suitable. Rabi Matondo hasn't been in the squad for the last 6 matches. He's only just back from injury. Gordon Dalziel was talking earlier on about how he ran amok really against Hibs here in the last game when Rangers won 3-0, but he's maybe not fit enough to play a full 45 minutes. It might just be a cameo towards the end. Kemar Roof, he's being eased back into things after his long-term injury issues. Cyril Dessers maybe hasn't offered a whole lot in this game so far. Kemar Roof came off the bench and looked quite lively, I thought, on Thursday night, so it could maybe be an opportunity for him a bit later in this game to try and come on and make an impact, to get more minutes in his legs as well. Even Nicholas Raskin, it was maybe that midfield area where Rangers looked the most tired in midweek, because John Lundstram and Mohamed Diamande did a lot of running, but Nicholas Raskin just hasn't really been the player that he was towards the end of last season in his first 6 months at Rangers. So I'm sure Philippe Clement will be assessing his options. I'm not sure whether he'll make any changes. Of course, they have made one so far in the first half. Dujon Sterling, who has been that real utility player for Rangers, has played at full-back, at right-back, left-back, both of them in central midfield where he's looked good. He's played on the wing as well. He's come off with what looked like a hamstring injury. Ross McCausland, back from injury, back into the team now as well. And you look at the options for Hibs as well on their bench. Ellie Ewan has had to come on because of that worrying looking injury to Martin Boyle as well. If they need a goal, Adam Lafondra is always pretty good for a goal as well, so he could possibly be the avenue that Nick Montgomery goes down.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking back Thursday night, did I dream up, was there an image of Sterling with an ice pack on his hamstring or something, or did he say in the lead up to today that he was feeling a bit sore from the other night?
No, there definitely was. He came off during the second half, didn't he? And there was an image of him, certainly that the TV cameras picked up, of him with an ice pack in his leg. Whether that was just precautionary, whether he did feel something and Rangers felt that he was okay to start this game, but it will be a concern for them, especially with the injuries they've got in those wide areas at the moment. Plenty of players out already. The only winger that travelled to Lisbon during the week was Ross McCausland. He wasn't even fit enough to start, so it means they've got even more limited options as well. So whether it is a knock-on effect from something that happened on Thursday or whether it is a fresh injury, I'm sure Philippe Clement will update us after the game.
Yeah, on one hand, no point in jumping to conclusions when we don't know, Mark. On the other, if it is that carry on from Thursday night sort of thing, there's only so much you can do, I guess, when players are having to go to the well again. And that's what we talk about. It's all right, us, because we sit here and we're eating a lot of pizza and chocolate here and don't have a care in the world athletically. But, asking players to have to go again and again, it can have an effect. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case.
Oh, there's no doubt it can have an effect, especially if you're a player like Sterling, so dynamic, relies so much on your physicality, high speed runs over long distances, like we've seen in the 30 minutes that he was on the pitch. Of course that will have effect if you're asked to do it time and time again. Look, they have the best staff as well, so recovery time, they're looked after. But if he was carrying something for the other night, then would it have been a risk to play him? Yes, of course it would have, but I'm sure it would have been checked out with the player. Unfortunate for the boy that he's out, because he's found himself a real important player for Rangers, and unfortunate for Clement, but it gives an opportunity, and McCausland's got to take that now.
Yeah, I think the teams are pretty much ready to come back out, so maybe Andrew McLean can tell us if there are any changes, recap the 11s for both sides.
Yeah, the Rangers side first out the tunnel at the moment, just waiting to see if there are any changes. Jack Butland the first as he makes his way to the goal, followed by the rest of the 10 that finished that half for Rangers. So it will be Jack Butland continuing in goal. James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter and Ridvan Yilmaz at the back four. John Lundstram and Mohamed Diamande, the two holding midfielders. Ross McCausland out on the right. He was a first half substitute for Dujon Sterling, as we just mentioned there. Tom Lawrence and Fabio Silva alongside Cyril Dessers, just waiting for Hibs to make their way out the tunnel, but hopefully more of the same in this second half. It was entertaining, wasn't it? It was really open, end-to-end game as well. Maybe surprised that there's only been one goal in the game so far. It's not really as if both goalkeepers had been absolutely peppered and had to make loads of saves, but Rangers did get away with one, didn't they? Jack Butland, struggling to really control the ball on his own goal line, took a couple of touches. Mailida slid in, the ball hitting the post and then going out for a corner, and it's probably just the fine margins of luck, really, because Rangers maybe got a stroke of luck when the penalty, James Tavernier saved, rebounded back into a dangerous area, could have gone anywhere, but John Lundstram, credit to him, he was quickest off the mark, bundled it over the line, but that is the goal that put Rangers ahead. The Hibs team have just made their way out the tunnel as well. Doesn't look as if they've made any changes either. David Marshall continuing in goal. The back four, Will Fish, Rocky Bashiri and Jordan Abita. The three in midfield, Nectar Triantis, Nathaniel Mariah Welsh and Joe Newell. It'll be Mayazine, Mailida, Emiliano Marcondes and Ellie Ewan in the front three. Of course, he replaced Martin Boyle. Tom Lawrence and Mohamed Diamande standing over the ball at the moment, ready to get underway for the second half.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Looking for a pharmacy? They've been serving Scottish communities since 1996.
Well, you all predicted Rangers would win this at the start. They're winning at the start of the second half, so I assume you've not seen anything to alter your thought process.
No, the only thing that would alter my thought process would be if Hibs score the next goal.
And then you would just be a massive hypocrite and change your mind.
Yeah. But I don't see that. I just have a feeling that it's not their night. Even David Marshall made a terrific save from the penalty from James Tavernier, and it wasn't enough. You know, it's an unfortunate night altogether for Hibs. And if Rangers score a second goal, take a 2-goal lead, it really is over.
I think he would need a big turnaround from Hibs. They didn't offer anything the first half, testing Jack Butland apart from Jack Butland's own
testing
mistake.
himself.
Yeah, testing himself. So if they're going to get back into the game, they'll need to improve in that. I know Rangers haven't been battering David Marshall's goal down, but they look a bigger threat than Hibs.
Yeah, it's taking on the exact shape that I thought it would. I thought it would be open, but when it's open like this, it comes down to quality, really. Rangers have got better quality than Hibs. Hibs have got a poor back line and they've been punished for it. See, if I was Nick Montgomery, though, I would be annoyed at the penalty kick, how it got turned into the net. I would be annoyed at my own team for their reactions. I get that Lundstrom's timed his run well, but Daz will tell you, if you're in that situation, you're a defender, you're making sure you're blocking Lundstrom. You're in front of Lundstrom. Lundstrom's just standing to the side. He's ready to go. He's anticipating it. Well, the Hibs defenders, Newell and Bashiri, are standing either side of him. I would be annoyed at my backline for that.
Nothing worse as a fan where you weigh the penalty save and then as it goes in on the opposite end you go, oh for yay. It's that change in emotion when a penalty rebound's turned in.
Yeah, it is. But I've got to say, and by the way, not just the manager will be disappointed, I think the goalkeeper will be disappointed. He'd be looking for
he
a
does
little
the hard bit, yeah.
He does the hard bit. He's looking for a bit of protection from his defenders. But all credit to Lundstrom. And it's very easy to sit back and look at Tavernier, who's usually brilliant from the penalty spot, and say, do you know what, he'll put it in the back of the net. He didn't do that.
It was one of
his
his poorer penalties for a while, wasn't it?
Yep, close enough to Marshall to make the save. He does try to put it to where Daz suggested, but just didn't get enough on it at all. Poor penalty.
I wonder if he'll both them.
I've said it before, there was a point in the season where his overall percentage, it wasn't
great.
It wasn't amazing. No, it was just kind of in line with the average. I think early in the season that he'll maybe have boosted that a bit because he scored a few.
He would always. He's Mr. Reliable.
Much like your Beat the Pundit performance, below average on the percentage you are.
Good times and bad times. We'll all have to take them.
Corner Hibs then. Stephen McLean's spotted something. I think it's an object thrown on.
A vape.
Someone's chucked their vape onto the pitch. So Stephen McLean goes and gives it to his fourth official.
They've got a problem with that. You know, you go back to Lawrence Shanklin tried to take a penalty and being assaulted by all these vapes and bottle opener and who knows what.
Pie, don't forget the pie.
Yeah, the pie. So need to be careful.
Hibs with a dangerous looking opportunity. Their second corner in succession now. Lundstrom can't really clear it properly and it goes out.
See, he was frustrated with that Lundstrom because he had enough time to really get something else on that to turn it away out his box, but he just couldn't sort his feet out and it hits his knee and it goes behind for another corner kick.
Well, Hibs have got to capitalise on this early pressure. They without a goal they're nowhere.
Yeah, Marcondes with the outswinger. It's a good header. I'm not sure it was going to beat Jack Butland, but it was heading in that direction, and it had to be blocked away by Lundstrom again.
I don't know if it was testing the goals, to be honest with you. But Lundstrom doesn't know that. He's got to header it away and defend, and he defend his area.
Next one comes in. Another one. It's going to be another corner. 3 in quick succession now for Hibs.
Not really putting Rangers under any pressure. I know they've got 3 in a row here, but their delivery, hasn't been great. Could do a wee bit better. It's going to be another outswinger here from Marcondes.
There's a lot of nice pace on that ball, and it does reach a Hibs body, but into the arms of Jack Butland. I think it was in the end up. There's a few bodies in there, but I think it was. He just
heads off his knee.
Yeah, it came through a ruck of bodies. He had to react, didn't he? And
was it? Oh, Rangers giving the I thought they were giving the ball away. They have given the ball away. Hibs have started the second half brightly here. Good play.
There was nearly a slip which would have let Rangers in, but Hibs do just about keep hold of it.
Just always seem to have an extra man. Hibs in midfield. You've got to say they're working the spaces well. However, not quite picking the right option when they seem to have a free man in there.
See, I think second half McCausland tends to hug the touchline. Sterling will play into out and give them that bit more security in the middle of the park. That's where he'll be a big miss, especially away from home.
Yeah, well, Dessers is trying to get in behind here, but Fish clears up on that occasion.
Well, both sides need a bit of serious intent when they get a look at the goal, but Hibs do seem to have a bit about them in the second half.
He's another one international call-up, Cyril Dessers, didn't he? Nigeria squad. Should have saw that in the past few days. I can tell by the blank expressions on your faces. This news has not reached you.
No, I read it the other day myself, Gordon, and good to hear again.
Where did you read that?
In the papers. I've got to say, it's very open, and as I say, Hibs probably have started the better. Still to test the goalkeeper right enough, but
yeah, Hibs will be buoyed by this start to the second half, won't they?
Oh, much better. You've got to say, much better. Forcing 3 corner kicks, balls into the Rangers box once again. There, it's bouncing about inside the Rangers box.
That'll be your booking.
That'll be a booking. He's not having a good evening. He's not having a good evening at all.
Do you know what it is? That's a blue card, maybe.
Yeah.
See, if they brought it in, that's what they had in mind.
Cynical fouls.
I was looking at John McGinn's today. You got a straight red card, and I wondered if that would be blue if they ever brought it in.
Are they talking blue? You go for a sin bin type thing?
I don't think it's necessarily going to happen, by the way, but just based on what they were
I just
discussing.
think we're confusing enough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that to happen, but he's
looking for one less thing to have conspiracy theories over, because then you would not only would you be arguing about the fact that a card was shown, you would be arguing about why was that? See, that should have been yellow, but he deliberately gave him blue there, so they had,
the rest struggle enough with 2 cards. Never mind getting
Hibs could be in here. Hibs could be in, and the pass is poor. That will be an absolute frustration for Nick Montgomery. It wasn't a tough pass. Ellie Ewan's quick, and all they had to do was feed it into his path. But they're still in here, and it's poked away for a corner. Real wasted opportunity for Hibs. Ewan was through on his own, but he couldn't be found by a teammate.
Yeah, you're 100% right. That's a wasted chance. That is a great opportunity. Hibs are really on the front foot here. They've started second half brilliantly. Rangers just need to be careful, because Hibs are looking to get back into this cup tie.
And now they're on baller.
But they'll not get the pace to get away from the back line, Hugh.
Yeah, the pass is good though from Dessers. That's what was lacking up the other end. He finds Silva, who's got McCausland for company, and this would be typical. Hibs would be really kicking themselves if they fell 2 behind, because they've been the better side since the restart 8 minutes ago.
Yeah, a good break there from Rangers. By the way, if I was Montgomery, I would take a beat off now. Now that he's been on a booting, he's gave Dessers a clear-cut chance. He's gave away the penalty kick. He gives up another opportunity there. He's a stick-on for a red card. Another mistimed tackle and he's away. He's really struggling, and that led to that Rangers break again. So Rangers one end defending their box to the other with a set piece. What a second goal. What would that do for the game now? Probably put it out of Hibs' reach, of course.
Yilmaz.
Yeah, corner to Rangers. Ridvan Yilmaz is going to take it. Going to be in swinging, you would imagine. Well, no, not you'd imagine. It definitely will be. Diomande had thought about offering, but he goes away, headed fairly effectively. But Hibs not in a rush to get everybody out.
He's
it allows James Tavernier strike from distance. Parried away for a corner.
You minute he gets that ball on that right foot and he sees the goals, you know he's going to hit. And Marshall gets across there. That's a good save because it's on target. It's curling. You'd expect David Marshall to save that right enough.
I'd be again annoyed at the full back line there. They actually got up to their 18-yard line and stop almost to say to Tavernier, on you go and shoot. Why would someone not take the step forward to block that? They were quite happy for the Rangers defender to shoot.
Yilmaz gets another go at it. Hibs deal with it again. Can they get out better this time? They're not really in any rush.
They're stopping at the 18-yard line.
It goes all the way back to Jack Butland, so you would imagine they will certainly come out now.
Well, you would like to think so. They really need to put pressure on Rangers high up the pitch, and they've got the players to do it. They've got pace at the top end of the pitch to put Rangers under pressure, but it's the press at the minute is just a wee bit, it's a wee bit half-paced. When you see Tavernier in the left-back position, that's the time to go and try and win it back. When Tavernier's in the left-back position, Yilmaz is in the right-back position, so they're obviously disorganised from the corner kick, but Hibs allow them to play at it.
And Hibs won't want to drop out of it, will they? You look at the way they started the second half, and when they got those corners, Marcondes and others were doing the old cheerleader act, geeing up the crowd, trying to just got to keep everything intense. So they won't want to drop out of it, Gordon, just by giving away a few silly corners.
No, obviously, I don't know what the manager says to them at half time, but it's had a reaction, Gordon. They've come out, forced a few corners, put a bit of pressure on. I keep going back to, I think we will get more goals because I think this is very open. I'm very surprised of how open this game is. So there will be goals. It'll just be who gets the next one, because I think that's the important one. I really do.
You know, people say good old-fashioned cup tie. Do you think anyone will ever say this is a good modern cup tie? Is there such a thing?
It's a moderately entertaining football match. Plenty of mistakes getting made, but it comes down to this: Hibs have got to get an equaliser. If Rangers get a second goal, Hibs won't score 3 to be in the next round.
Remember, extra time and penalties is a possibility.
No. I'm really got to put my hands up here and say, I do not care who wins this game. Somebody win it in 90 plus minutes.
Nobody wants it on a Sunday night, do they? Nobody. Dancing on ice.
We're on until 9 o'clock if it goes to extra time, but don't let our selfish ways get in the way of things here.
I wish both teams all the best, but somebody win it, please, in 90 plus minutes.
What's your usual viewing on a Sunday evening at this time?
What does a man of your hobbies watch on a Sunday night?
I watch a lot of sport. I watch a lot of box sets. I don't really watch TV. I'm not a big lover of TV.
Have you watched it's no secret I've been feeling really sorry for myself and moaning to everybody. I'm feeling really under the weather. I patch myself up, come in here, do this because I love you guys so much. But for the last few days I've just sat.
What you watched?
Drive to Survive.
Nothing with those eyes.
Exactly. I've been listening to Drive to Survive.
Inside these eyelids.
It is outstanding TV, isn't it? And it's perfect for the sort of casual F1 fan.
I don't watch Formula 1, but I watch that. It's fantastic. I do that in one sitting. I'll go to my bed and lie up
really
all
good,
night and
I
watch
have to say. I've enjoyed the
show's full
drama.
swing.
I mean, the next series will be quite interesting, I would imagine. Drive to Survive.
Yes, aye. See what goes on there.
You called them, didn't
Horner,
you? Horner, right, just double checking. That should be good.
Full swing as well.
Were you on the golf one? Is it good?
Oh, brilliant.
Is it? I liked the last one.
Fitzpatrick's brothers, that's great. You must be jealous of your big brother. You've just won 168,000. He's winning 3 million, and then you walk out. They want a selfie with him. It was like me and Wilson. They want a selfie with Wilson. I'm left on my own. I'm left to take it. I felt like me, Alex Fitzpatrick.
Top golf. I thought he was in it. You take this, mate.
I never took it. I told the boy where to go.
So is that the next recommendation for your adoring audience? Is it full swing?
Yeah, if you're into the golf, it's brilliant. I love
it. Golf, is it?
Full swing.
Okay. That was a bit of personal life.
Neighbours did chat the door at one point. Tell me turn it down.
Marcondes with the free kick. There's so many good jokes I wanted to get out there, but Marcondes' free kick probably brings us back to the football, Hugh, because it wasn't a bad effort from quite a distance, and Jack Butland had to parry it away.
Decent save from Butland, the sign of life from Hibs. They're not working Butland, that's the problem. The 15 minutes into the second half, but that's the first time they've worked Jack Butland, really. They need to be doing more in front of goal.
Yeah, so it was a decent effort, but I think Butland, quality goalkeeper like him, always had it covered, and he does the right thing in palming it out.
So just before we move on, Full Swing is a golf documentary and not something you've got on your fancy TV.
It's a golf documentary.
That's fine. We'll get back to the football now, because we've reached the hour mark. Hibs 0, Rangers 1. You have to say Hibs have enjoyed the best of the second half so far, but no real clear chances. They had a really good looking counter attack that they should have made more of and didn't. They've had that free kick from Marcondes, a couple of balls into awkward areas. I just wonder at what point Rangers shuffle the pack, Gordon, and what that looks like. Someone like Kemar Roof, maybe.
Yeah, he's obviously a great option to bring on, because Dessers, I think he's worked hard, but he's not really been involved in the game. Matondo gives you that pace, that bit of width, but with already McCausland on the pitch, playing very wide, hugging the touchline, he might just leave that just now. But he's certainly got one or two options. But Roof, I will certainly say that he will be involved at some stage of this game tonight.
Don't forget, you can still get your calls in. The phone lines have been open all afternoon. It's just a bit different, this scheduling for us on a Sunday night, so we're obviously covering the game. But if you want to speak to the panel, and I'm sure you're itching to, then it's 0141951 1025. An hour gone at Easter Road. Hibs 0, Rangers 1. Tavernier's penalty saved, Lundstrom on the rebound, and that's the only goal we've had that's been entertaining enough. Right on cue, actually, Wayne, who's a Hearts fan, has given us a call. How's it going, Wayne?
Not bad, Gordon. How are you guys?
Not bad at all. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, first of all, obviously tomorrow night I'm looking forward to us going over to Morton and hopefully picking up a result there. I think we should be now concentrating on the Scottish Cup, because they've been sounding biased, but I think, third place is kind of wrapped up. I think we've kind of consolidated the lead there, where we should be now looking at the other trophies that's an offer to ourselves. But tonight, watching the game between Hibernian and Rangers, I was kind of disappointed with the penalty in the very first half. Again, I did think a couple of the decisions against Hearts and Celtic shouldn't have went that way, but tonight you can quite clearly see Sterling's already stumbling into the area, and there's a coming together with the defender, but he's already not striding in a normal fashion, getting into that box as if he's going to cut a ball in. So I think when McLean's gave his on-field decision, that VAR should have intervened and said, you know what, you need to go and look at this, because he's not in control of the ball. He's already stumbling into the area, and that shouldn't have been awarded. And I feel as though some of the decisions where VAR don't want to intervene and give their opinion, they really should, because it is those decisions that define the game, where a fan like ourselves or supporter who went to the game can't voice that. So we need the help from somebody else seeing it to say, well, that can't happen.
Do you know what I like, Wayne? I like how this is a Hearts fan sticking up for Hibs.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I'm sticking up for football, regardless if it's Hibs, Celtic, Rangers, Dundee United, Raith Rovers, Arbroath, whoever it may be. I'm all for Scottish football, and where decisions have to be made, it has to be across the board. And if we can't deliver that, then it's flawed.
Well, unfortunately, I already know that the guys are going to disagree. You feel like it was a penalty. What do you make of Wayne? Because if there is anyone else who, alongside Wayne, doesn't think it was a penalty, that is what they're going to say. They're going to say, I think he was going down already. Don't know if he actually is clipped at any point. How would you argue against that?
I think Wayne's totally wrong. I think, look, he's entitled to his opinion like everybody else. Doesn't mean to say that you get an opinion that you're always right, but I think that is a stone wall penalty kick, and I'll guarantee you 100%, if Wayne, Hearts fan, against Hibs, and that was given against Hearts in a semi-final or Scottish Cup or whatever, Wayne would be on here saying it's a disgrace of a decision. So it was a penalty kick, there's no doubt about it, Gordon.
Bit of a flashpoint there at Easter Road. It doesn't. Oh my goodness. Marcondes goes down. I don't think it was going to get beyond half-hearted claims. Goldson will say he was trying to get him back up on his feet. Marcondes then sort of threw himself down. It's all a bit theatrical. Incidentally, Ross McCausland's just gone off injured. He had came on, remember, to replace the injured Dujon Sterling. So injuries really, really mounting up. And Mark, what about you on Wayne's take that Sterling was already going down and didn't think it was a penalty?
No, listen, I thought it was a Stonewall penalty. No, if Sterling maybe is stumbling, there's still a tangle of legs here. He's still caught, and a beater is still wrong side. It's still a foul whether he's going down or not. So you can't say much more than that, in my opinion. You could almost see it coming seconds before, though. And I've been in that position myself before, where you know you're the wrong side and you're trying to get yourself back in the right side, and you're trying to cross over the direction Sterling's going, and all you want is no contact. Unfortunately for a beater, he makes contact. Sterling's legs, you can quite clearly see get tangled, and it's a penalty.
It's all kicked off at Easter Road.
Yeah, just to recap a bit. So there was a kind of strange one. So when McCausland was injured, he was limping off. Jordan Mbita, who's been booked already, so I don't know why he was taking the risk, but he kind of wanted to get involved. He was kind of chirping away at Ross McCausland. He was trying to push him off the pitch, kind of get him away a bit quicker. At which point he was almost kind of pushing the Rangers physio as well. So it was all a bit strange, and that's just ignited things. That incident there with Goldson and Marcondes is heating up, shall we say.
It's getting petty, Hugh. Do you not think so?
Without doubt. But Mark Wilson made the point earlier on that he would take Obita off because he's not playing well and he's on a yellow card. A more excitable referee might have shown him another yellow card there for pushing at McCausland, who is
I
after
think
all.
Roof will get one here. And he's just on the pitch.
He's just replaced Cyril Dessers.
Yeah, he's got one yellow card.
Wayne, a tie like tomorrow, back to your own team. Speaking from experience, going there in the cup can be a dangerous place to go, as Motherwell found out. Hearts, though, having a really good season. Is there any anxiety attached to that fixture for you?
Oh, when it comes to the Scottish Cup, then everything's up for grabs, especially, Queen of Morton could be looking, getting a wee day out for the fans at Hampden. But I feel as though Hearts, we should go there tomorrow night and, just do what Stephen Naismith is after the players that he's done for the last, basically, the start of the season. And I'm hoping it shouldn't be a problem where Hearts should go and deliver. But again, it's a cup tie, it's a Monday night, it's under the lights at Capital where, Green Morton were going to go and give it all they want, and, we'll just have to suck it up and see what happens.
That should be a cup tie, Hugh Keevins, in every sense of the word.
I get the feeling perhaps that when Morton beat Motherwell, they were in the midst of a tremendous run, 14 league matches undefeated. I'm not sure there's quite the same look about them now, not quite as confident as they were. I would fancy Hearts from this distance to win that cup tie, but as Wayne said, it's under the floodlights, Monday night, telly, all the business, but they are allowed to revel in that kind of atmosphere. Any club would, so Hearts will assuredly know they've been in a game, but I think Hearts have too much for them.
Great night for Morton, Doug Emery. I totally agree with what Hugh said there. I think they got Motherwell at the right time.
I beat us caught Matondo here. I did say I told you.
That is really strange from Hibs and from Obita. He's off. He's going a second yellow card. It was coming all night long, and off he goes, Jordan Obita. And remember, it doesn't matter what VAR thinks here because it was a second yellow. So off he goes.
It's his own fault. I mean, that clearly. And he's still not off the park yet. That there's all sorts going on. That he really needs to get off the park.
Crazy all round because Hibs, Gordon, this cup tie was there for Hibs. Rangers do look tired. They've had to make subs. Hibs had a good start to the second half. He's just kind of tussling with Matondo.
I've got to say,
is there enough in it?
I think Matondo makes.
I think his left arm. I think Bita gets over across him, and I think it's okay until his left arm then swings round and catches Matondo in the face.
He runs a risk, Mark, doesn't he?
I think you can just tell with a player who's just out of sorts, out of control for the full game. 3 clear mistakes in the first 45 minutes, followed by a poor start. it was coming. And you know what? Nick Montgomery should have seen it coming as well. He should have withdrew him when he had the opportunity.
I agree with Mark. I think that's bad management. I really do. I think you do get a feel for your player. Listen, Mark called it 10 minutes ago. Look, he's never going to get away with that. He's never going to get. And people can argue it's soft or whatever it may be. You're running the risk. You're on a yellow. Does Matondo make the best of it? Probably does. But he shouldn't have put himself in that position for the referee to make a decision. And it's a second yellow. Now it's an uphill task for Hibs. But Mark's right. I think that's poor
a couple of minutes
management.
ago, you're right. He's pushing the physio off for Rangers in McCausland when there's no need. You know, the player's clearly injured. He's been subbed. It's not as if he's wasting time, and he's pushing him off. So lost control, and he could have lost this tie for his side.
Hibs would have enjoyed the start to the second half as well, and maybe it felt like they could do something, but they're down to 10 men. They're a goal down, and it looks like Rangers' chances of going through to the semis have increased. Thanks to Wayne on the line. Just a reminder that you can call, albeit we're trying to keep you updated on the game and spin a few different plates, but the phone lines have been open for quite some time now, so join us if you want and let us know. From a neutral perspective, Gordon, it just felt like we were set up for quite an exciting finish. I thought Hibs were really going to go for this.
To be quite honest with you, Gordon, I thought
and it's made it more difficult.
Yeah, we were talking about the next goal being so important, and if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would have probably said Hibs looked the favourites for it, and then down to 10 men, and they've lost a little bit.
Pure tackle.
Yeah,
it's a straight red card. Hibs are down to 9 men. It is unravelling rapidly at Easter Road.
They've lost their discipline. There's no doubt about that.
He looked, by the way, at first glance, he looked out of control. It looked a lunge. Now, Nick Montgomery protesting strongly with his staff, saying it's the wrong decision. He did look like he left the ground.
Well, this, of course, could be overturned by VAR, but then it would have to be deemed a clear and obvious error and all the usual caveats that would follow, because it was a straight red card. So, John Lundstrom in possession.
I'm looking at that now and think that's a red. I think that's a red.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very lungy, that's for sure.
It is lungy, but
you not giving that, Mark?
I'm not sure how much does he catch Lundstrom there? Does he go through? Lundstrom certainly holding his ankle. I think he's reckless with the way he goes in and the speed he goes in, and I think he goes 2-footed.
Sounds like
a red.
Albeit reckless is yellow. Remember, reckless tackles are yellow, but if excessive force is there and the endangering opponent, that's when it becomes red.
What do you get for stupidity?
I'm not sure about that.
You think he might get away with it?
At first glance, in real time, I thought the same as the referee. He's running the risk. That's a red card. But then when I see it in slow motion,
I think maybe borderline.
Yeah, I think it is borderline.
Well, I'll put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised. When I seen it in the speed,
it takes a lot to get them overturned. Remember, well, it should in theory, because you're talking about clear and obvious error and that sort of thing. Whatever that means, though, I mean, because it kind of get a confusing sentiment.
I'm not sure he makes much contact.
Doesn't catch loads of John Lundstrom, does he?
Yeah, I think he might have a case here.
Yeah,
I do. I'm starting to go the other way a little bit. When I seen it at real time, I thought, oh, it's a straight red. But he comes in for the side. He gets a lot of the ball.
I don't think that's a red.
Yeah, I'm starting to sort of agree with you, Mark, to be honest with you. There's angles that look worse than the other
sort
angles.
Of flicks both his legs out, which makes it look quite dramatic. I think he's done for.
Yeah, he's away.
Yeah, I think that decision's going to stand. So Hibs down to 9 men.
Well, they've lost their discipline, as Gordon Dalziel said. The manager has to take part of the blame for the one involving John Obita. Also, Nick Montgomery is losing his own discipline down there
when he's staff booked.
Yeah, and things could get even worse. But I think he knows, Nick Montgomery, in his heart of hearts now, that what chance have we got with 9 men?
But ideal for Philip, come on, because again, it's not been easy for Rangers. Sterling and McCausland withdrawn through injury, and you've got 15 minutes left of this tie, and you're playing against 9 men. He would have taken that all day long. When he first looked at this tie, he realised it was a couple of days after coming back from Portugal, and right when you thought was going to be the hardest part of the game for them to manage, They found themselves
They
with a
looked
2-man
like a
advantage.
chance here.
Yeah, the 9 men were into the box, but they just couldn't quite make the most of it.
I can hear Philippe Clement after the game talking, as he frequently does, about players being kicked off the park.
Not sure though, because look, is it a red card tackle according to the ref? But there's not loads of contact on John Lundstrom.
I'm only basing it on the television pictures of Clement getting more and more agitated and excited on the touchline. He clearly thinks that what's happening is disproportionate force.
There's passion in the game, and the fans love to see that. But there's also, if you've been involved in football, you can tell the kiddie on ones, the passion ones, that kid on. They lost their discipline. Mark called it. I think Montgomery's got to take a lot of responsibility. He should have made substitutions. He could see one or two of his players were losing it, and they've all of a sudden got an uphill task. They started the second half very well indeed, but they've gave the advantage right over to Rangers now.
Yeah, there's going to be an uphill struggle. 9 men, a goal down. Not really sure what Hibs can muster under those circumstances, Mark.
No, well, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to get out now. I mean, they have got no out ball. Marcondes is the highest person up the pitch at the minute. It is going to be relentless, probably wave after wave of attack, and so it should be. Rangers should really be patient with the ball. They should manage the game and pick them off at will. They've got the players too.
They're giving it a right good go, but as you can tell, they are outnumbered quite literally.
But this is where Rangers, once they win the ball back, they should probably go at pace. I mean, they're playing against a back four. If they commit bodies forward, they'll pick Hibs off.
Yeah, and the Hibs will run out of steam, because obviously there's a lot of grass to cover, a lot of areas that Rangers will just keep moving side to side, and they'll obviously pick their moments. This should be cruise control for Rangers now. They should just dominate this game and probably put the game to bed very quickly.
Yeah, rubbing your hands if you're a Rangers player just now, because you probably would have been ready for an onslaught in the second half, especially the way Hibs started the second half. 3-4 corners in a row. Probably thought this is going to be a long 45 minutes, but it's panned out just nicely for them.
Another disappointing night though for Nick Montgomery. I keep on repeating that he's got to get a result that makes the Hibs fans believe that he's the man for the future.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen, Hugh? He'll probably lose a cup game, and he's got to come out, and the first one he'll get it will be the officials.
Yeah.
But I think as much as you can disagree with decisions, and I'm all for that, I think you've got to look at your own players first and foremost.
Well, that's the thing. See, even on that, I wonder if we're looking at the red card in a kind of backwards fashion, because it happens. You then slow it down and go, oh, has he fully caught Lundstrom? See, if you strip it back to the start, what is he doing flying in like that?
Correct.
When your team's just gone down to 10 men, let's even say even if he wins that ball clean and goes nowhere near Lundstrom, it's still a bit of a strange lunge to make, isn't it?
Without doubt. I mean, just in that period of the game, Hibs certainly lost control. Their players, heated up a wee bit, a couple of wee flashpoints. They're in the box again.
They're in again, Hibs, but just Marcondes tries to drag it on the left.
Good defending that from Goldson, because that's not easy.
They're actually playing better with 9 men.
That's the effect of getting a beat out of the way, because he was having a nightmare.
Exactly.
Young Cole McKinnon's going to come on alongside Nicholas Raskin for Rangers. Remember, Rangers with a 2-man advantage. They've had a couple of injuries though tonight. Dujon Sterling went off. Looks like a very straightforward hamstring injury. He knew it straight away. He was replaced by Ross McCausland, and then he went off injured and was replaced by Rabi Matondo. So it's been one of those evenings, and Hibs down to 9 men for 2 red cards.
And Rangers all over them now, looking for that goal.
To be fair, I don't think Rangers have been that impressive.
No, I agree with you, Mark. They've been very slack for me.
Yeah,
they should be just knocking that ball about. There's a chance, taking their time.
Yeah, it's going to fall edge of the box. Diamandi screws it wide.
But that kind of sums them up. Again, not quite catching that right, but passes going astray. Even when it was 11v11, I never really thought they offered anything in this second period.
Diamandi looks tired to me. I'd be very surprised if he stays on the pitch. That's a tire swing with the left foot. He's off. He's getting subbed.
Just seen Goldson again. Marcondes in the box. He just tries to drag it with his right, and Goldson just does enough, sticks that leg out, You always run the risk of that.
There you go. Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
Phil's
know
listening.
your stuff.
Or Alex Ray. Alex Ray's got the earpiece in.
Diamandi is going to make weight. Nicholas Raskin comes on. Cole McKinnon comes on.
Yeah, he looks tired, the lad. I've got
Tom
to say.
Lawrence off as well.
Fresh legs, big pitch. They've got the 2-man advantage. He'll just be saying, look, be patient, keep the ball, pass it, move Hibs about, and then just look for that killer goal. That's obviously got to put them into the semi-final of the Scottish Cup with Aberdeen and Celtic.
I think even the Hibs players are thinking, could be doing without extra time here. 9 men.
Yeah.
Could be doing without it. We're knackered.
Yeah,
Rangers come.
Here come Rangers. Fabio Silva tries to take it early. It's blocked, but he'll get a second go at it.
Great
That's
block.
blocked, and it's a corner.
Great defending.
Yeah,
Great
Fish.
defending.
By the way, Fish has had a not too bad second half. A couple of times Silva's tried to run him, and he's got his body in front, and that time he just gets himself right back in the correct position to block the second attempt. Good block, but you expect in the closing 10 minutes plus stoppages, probably about another 15 minutes to go, that Rangers will have opportunities like that, where there will be 3v2s and 4v3s, and it's picking the right option.
Technically, you can call right now, Rangers fans, but certainly when this is done and dusted, we'll be looking for you to get your thoughts in on the game, the result, the performance, the refereeing decisions. There's been quite a lot in there, so why don't you get your calls over to us right now if you wish, but certainly after this one is finished. It's an interesting corner routine. It doesn't quite come off. It's the old sort of float it out to Paul Scholes and have him volley it towards goal. The problem being it was John Lundstrom and he gets it wrong.
Wasn't it quite Scholes, was it? Rolled in the shin and off the boot. It's a hard one to
Well,
take
he's a man that separates the teams. Quick thinking, and Hibs making substitutions as well. Obviously they'll have tired legs out there.
No, Dylan Levitt can shoot from distance. No stranger to a goal.
Dundee United and Hibs scored some crackers in his time.
Yeah, scored a good one when Celtic went to Easter Road, didn't they, earlier this season. Like we said, with this being the cup tie, even an equaliser for Hibs takes it to extra time. They've got that 2-man disadvantage. Really hard to see beyond anything other than Rangers' progression, even if it was to take a bit longer.
But they've they're doing enough to think
they've done well.
Rangers aren't done and dusted even against 9 men. But you reflect on the performance in general from Rangers, and you'd have to say, like Celtic earlier on in the day, got the job done, but it wasn't the best.
I've enjoyed my weekend of cup football. It's not finished. We've got another entertaining one tomorrow night, but I expect obviously Aberdeen, Celtic, Rangers and Hearts, and I'll be looking forward to that draw.
You should go, really, because you're off
to the draw.
You're not on here tomorrow. You should go to Morton.
Down to Capital. Fancy it?
Nah.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, no problem with that.
You'll have that on Morton TV, or is it on? Is it on just
How will I have
terrestrial
that?
TV?
I don't think you can buy that
It's
on
on
TV.
Subscribe to Morton TV.
Council Telly, as they
Council
call it.
Telly,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
we'll
got
tune
Council
in.
Telly. I've got my licence.
Do you hang your aerial out the window?
Yeah, remember the old days?
Adjust it.
I remember I had a telly. I put money in the back of it just to work it. That's how old I am.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Well,
we've always said you're of Hugh Keevins' generation more than Mark Wilson's. You always think that
Yeah.
you're a young thing like Mark, but you're really not.
No,
Sorry to
no.
break it to you.
Yeah,
Next weekend as well. Next birthday, get another
62.
No.
I don't think it's
Here we are.
Good play.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that will be that. We've had another goal at Easter Road.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And Fabio Silva makes it Hibs 0, Rangers 2. Cut in from that left. He's done that a few times, but this was the one with the end product. Twisting, turning, fired it low beyond David Marshall. Rangers have a 2-goal lead. There's only 7 minutes of the 90 left, and Hibs are down to 9 men. So, even by wacky Scottish football standards, Rangers will be in the draw, Hugh.
Yeah, and if we get another goal, I'll have had a correct prediction. And we've got plenty of time to get another goal against 9 men. But it was well taken by Fabio Silva. As I said earlier, when he came at first, you weren't really sure, but that's a very well taken goal.
Yeah, good pass again from Lundstrom, looking forward right to Silva. I've got to say, I thought Silva looked in the mood from early on. He looked lively, showed pace. He's gave Cadden a tough night, and again they are Squares Cadden up, checks inside him, good finish, game over.
Yeah, terrific. I think the boys have described it brilliantly.
Yeah, the stands are emptying. They can sense this one's over, Gordon.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way back for Hibs now. That's a very, very good finish indeed. So it's been a good few days for Rangers over in Portugal, coming back. The only downside is, I think, when you look back at the injuries, Sterling, obviously, McCausland limped off again, but they've got a chance on Thursday night. They'll be in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. I think Clement would have taken that.
I know that he always argues against this, Philippe Clement, and he showed as much today by picking the team who played Benfica to start this match. But it is Benfica again Thursday night, and players are dropping. Sterling obviously would have no chance of that. McCausland, no chance. The numbers are dwindling.
I think you almost get away with it, Hugh, because it's not the spine of your team, if that makes any sense. I know it's winger after winger, which can affect you, but again, Matondo comes in, he's playing Silva off the wide areas, he's got Roof that can maybe fill. If you take out a Suter or a Goldson, a Lundstrom, a Dessers, even Butland, then I think it affects your plans more. As long as you can keep that spine fit and well and playing every game, then I think they'll get away with it.
It's getting close though, isn't it?
Yeah, they've certainly got a lot of injuries to key players, you've got to say. But he doesn't seem to feel sorry for himself. Just gets on with it. You just wonder if McCausland's a reoccurrence of when, remember, he limped out of Ibrox and crutches not that long ago. I know he was back fit for Thursday night, and then he didn't. I've never seen anything that, out of the ordinary that would have made him limp off. So I just wonder if that's a slight reoccurrence of the Motherwell game.
But I do think, sometimes we go on too much about clubs trying to balance Europe and domestic football. But I do think that there are signs that the workload is catching up on Rangers, and the numbers are dwindling. I know at the same time Robbie Matondo's back and Nicholas Raskan, and I do think they'll beat Benfica at Ibrox, but the workload and the build-up of matches, domestic and European, it could have an effect.
Well, it'll be an interesting week for them, I was going to say, Gordon, just because the workload that they have from now until Thursday evening will be minimal. You cannot see the manager risking anybody in training, and it's the old saying, you're equally more likely to get injured in training as you had a game as well.
Paul, if he plays it early, Roof is in, Shielmad's down the left hand side. If he just plays that ball early, but he takes an extra touch and he lets Hibs get back and regroup, Roof will be desperate to get on the goal scoring sheet today, especially with down to 9 men, looking to create maybe an wee chance before the final whistle. But if I was a centre forward, I'd be desperate to score.
I was wondering if Rangers would play this at walking pace the last few minutes to make sure no one else does get injured. They've got that 2-man advantage as well, so you can't really see any scope for Hibs doing anything in the last few moments. And that'll be a frustration for Nick Montgomery, because they were good at the start of this second half.
Well, it's just been a rank bad night for Nick Montgomery. The serious injury to Martin Boyle, 2 players losing their discipline, ordered off. It just won't do for Hibs.
It's not a lot's went right, has it?
No.
For Nick Montgomery since he's come in. Even his wins, never been sparkling. The performance, sometimes good to watch going forward, but yeah, he's struggled. I don't think he's under any pressure losing his job. I think he will go into next season, but he needs to get it right quickly next season.
Well, he's at Ross County midweek. Their top 6 place isn't nailed on, Hibs. So, Don Cowie and his team will give them a hard night.
To be fair to Hibs, I know they've not really set the head on fire, but I think they're going the right way. I think if they give the boy opportunity, as the ball comes in there, easy save for Marshall, but if they give the boy opportunity and he gets his defenders right, if he gets his back line right, Hugh, middle to front they're decent, And obviously tonight, now he will come out and have a moan at the officials, because that's what happens when you lose games. I think he would need to look at some of his play. I thought they lost their discipline a little bit.
More than a little bit. You know, you get 2 men sent off, one of your staff members booked. Just a mad, 10-minute period.
Yeah. And they were going, they were doing well after the half time. They come out the blocks, they looked the sharper, they were on the front foot. But they just, I think the manager's got to take a bit of responsibility. He's got to see that situation happening, Mark. You've seen it in here in Clydebank. He can't see it 10 yards away. I just don't understand it at all.
I'm sure he'll admit to it, will he? Would you admit to that? Would you say I got that wrong as a manager?
Yeah.
Not touch your hands.
But I wouldn't have got that wrong. I'd have had him off the pitch.
I think on your player.
Yeah, I think you've got a feeling for a player that's got to get sent off, and everybody could see that was the situation.
Well, 90 minutes are up. Was this a matter of how long is added on by Stephen McLean? 5 minutes added on. So for me, that means 5 minutes for Rangers to get a third goal. I don't see Hibs getting anything.
Yeah, Hibs look out of ideas. They actually gave it a good go when they went down to 10 and 9 men. They had a couple of moves up the pitch, but they didn't come to any in the end. And it's really Rangers getting in, particularly down their left, Hibs' right side. And it's certainly going to be 2-0, but can Rangers perhaps add to it? I think a flag has gone up on the far side.
There's only one person in this studio sitting with 2-0.
Was it you, was it?
Yep.
Oh, good on you, know your stuff.
Just one result, that's all I'm looking. Yeah, 2-0 I went.
I said 2-0.
No, you did not.
You did.
Oh, you must have copied me then.
I said 2-0.
What did I say?
You didn't say 2-0. You were right. I thought you were giving me credit there. It was me. It says 2-0.
I think you'll find it was me.
Sums you two up, quite frankly. Can't even remember your own pre-match predictions.
I said 2-0. I remember fine well what mine is.
But anyway, it's not over the line yet. There's still 4 minutes to go.
The referee would be as well just.
My 3-0 could come into play here.
Yeah, it could, yeah.
But you're not full of confidence for me.
No, well, I think there could be one more chance.
Well, Philippe Clement, I'm sure, will be happy with the week's work. They've done what they had to do results wise. I mean, it came at a bit of a price personnel wise, a few injuries and so on, but that was always going to be the risk heading into this busy schedule. And again, Rangers might make it 3 Yilmaz. Hibs have thrown their body in the way of quite a few of those, but Tavernier's going to pick up, and now he's going to get a free kick in James Tavernier territory.
Unusual that he's not on the score sheet. The right back.
He's still got a chance. He's still got a chance. Is it
too close?
Oh yeah, I've got to say that. Too close. Can't get it up and down.
Yeah, put the laces through it and all that. He's moved it back a bit, I think.
That's not too close. He'll manage that.
Yeah, he's moved it back.
That's Tavernier-esque.
At the site of his first ever Rangers goal, of course. Remember Easter Road?
Was it really? Yeah.
Remember the Challenge Cup, because they were both in the Championship, weren't they? It was 6-2 to Rangers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that was his first ever. I think that was a free kick
from about this area, I'd imagine. Yeah, it was into that goal.
He looks a bit tired. Do you think Yilmaz will hit it?
Behave yourself.
He looks a bit knackered.
Even Andy Halliday scored that day though.
Oh, no.
Did he really?
He did.
Yeah, Tavernier's hitting this all day.
What do we think? He tends to find certainly the target quite often the back of the net.
Goalkeeper's left. Big gap there. Big gap there.
There you go. He's hit the wall. But the ball is in the back of the net. Is it going to count? Is the flag up? Yeah, flag goes up.
Cole McKinnon
he thought he had played a part. I think it was him that was offside.
Well, it did take a deflection the way through the first shot, but I don't think there's any doubt they were all offside. 2 or 3 of them at the back post. Yeah.
I think it's a fairly straightforward decision in the end. So it's going to be a free kick to Hibs, but we're pretty much out of time. Get your calls in if you can. You can do that right now, and we'll line them up on 01419511025. Rangers fans, what have you made of this? Hibs fans, if there's any, do you feel a bit hard done by penalty, a couple of red cards? Get your grievances in. That's what we're here for. It's like a Sunday night therapy for you on 0141951 1025.
Did I not used to do that? Was there no Sunday night phone in, Hugh, here before? Or a late night phone in?
No.
Yes. Not football, you just mean like...
Aye, not football, but just tells your problems and your issues. And
I was never off the phone.
You've got 4 guys here ready to solve any issues.
I took part in a competition once before I came here. Richard Park, Dr. Dick's Midnight Surgery, it was called.
It's called what?
Dr. Dick's.
Dr. Dick's.
And you were on it?
I phoned in.
Did you?
Yeah.
What was the aim of the game?
What did you phone in for?
It was you had to name the tune or name the band or something of that sort.
And you managed it?
I'll tell you exactly what year it was. 1975.
Yeah, that's a good bit of Radio Clyde trivia, that.
Yeah.
You first appeared on these airwaves as a competition.
Yeah, I phoned in.
I like that.
That is good, Hugh. That's how you're on
Now
touch with the callers.
I always meant to ask Richard Park because you know the story that he hired me. He said because I had a weird voice.
Could you phone in?
No. It was he interviewed me for a book I'd written.
Full time at Easter Road. Here's Andrew McLean. Give us a call right now, please.
Hibs 0, Rangers 2, the full-time score in what was a lively game at Easter Road. 2 goals for Rangers, 2 red cards for Hibs. Philip Clement's men in the hat for the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup. Most of the game was really open, end to end, both teams with openings. The first big one came from an uncharacteristic mistake from Jack Butland. He got the ball stuck under his feet on his own goal line. Mailida sliding in, the ball ricocheting off both of them, then off the post, and then out for a corner. Cyril Dessers with a good chance at the other end, robbing Jordan Abita, driving into the box, chopped onto his left foot. David Marshall making the save from the tight angle. Then another bad moment for Jordan Abita, clipping the heels of Dujon Sterling in the box. Stephen McLean awarding a penalty. James Tavernier stepped up, but his penalty was saved by David Marshall. However, the rebound back into a dangerous area of the box. John Lundstrom was first to it and he bundled the ball over the line for 1-0. Then a real worrying event after that. Martin Boyle going down after a heavy collision with John Suter. He was down for a long time getting treatment before eventually being stretchered off into the second half. And Hibs started well, put a lot of pressure on Rangers. They won a good few corners, but just unable to get that clear-cut chance to level things up. Both goalkeepers having to make saves from long-range efforts after that. David Marshall from James Tavernier, Jack Butland from Emiliano Marcondes. A few incidents then really ramped up the tension in this game, turned into a bit of head loss for Hibs because first of all Jordan Abita, already on a yellow card off the ball, made a block on Rabi Matondo. His arm was high. Stephen McLean gave him a second yellow card. Hibs down to 10. Then 2 minutes later down to 9. Nathan Mariah Welsh went careering into a challenge on the halfway line. It was pretty needless really, but he was shown a straight red card. After that, Hibs tried to have a bit of a go with 9 men. However, the game started to peter out, a bit of a training exercise in the last few minutes, and in the 83rd minute Fabio Silva made space for himself in the box, shifted it onto his left foot and fired low under David Marshall. The Rangers players celebrating with the supporters that have stayed in the stadium to show their appreciation for that performance. Rangers into the hat for the semi-finals along with Aberdeen and Celtic, Morton and Hearts in the final quarter-final game tomorrow night. The full-time score here at Easter Road is Hibs 0, Rangers 2.
Don't let this catch you off guard. I know it's not often you can call in this show at 25 to 8 on a Sunday evening, but that is your reality. So come on, what did you make of that? Rangers fans got there in the end. A few injuries to worry about, but you'll be in the hat for the draw. How pleasing was that outcome after a busy week? Hibs fans or anyone else who watched, there were a few contentious moments. A penalty to Rangers, 2 Hibs red cards. How did you feel those went? 01419511025. If you call us right now, and you can look back on Celtic's win as well, we'll try and get you on next.
Your reaction 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's Open Line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here at the end of a long day of Scottish Cup action. It's finished with the 2 favourites through. That does not tell the full story. Celtic winning 4-2 against Livy, leaving it late to stretch their legs in that one. And then most recently 2-0 to Rangers at Easter Road, but Hibs down to 9 men and Rangers awarded a penalty in that first half. So lots to get through, but in the end, Hugh, it's a fairly predictable and strong looking lineup. We get into that tomorrow. Aberdeen, Celtic, Rangers and potentially Hearts, although Morton will have other ideas.
Well, there you would have, if Hearts do it, the top 4 teams in the country, and that will place its demands on Celtic and Rangers, even though when they play at Hampden and have the bulk of the supporters, it's supposed to be to their advantage. I'm not sure the Celtic fans, and they can shoot me down if they wish, I'm not sure the Celtic fans would welcome a semi-final against Rangers. I think they would rather avoid them and take their chances on final day, assuming they can get past Aberdeen or Hearts. The Celtic we saw today, and Brendan Rodgers acknowledged it afterwards. He said they had to dig in for their win. The speed of their game wasn't his liking. There's a certain level of player missing, as Brendan Rodgers said. So I think they would rather avoid Rangers in the draw.
The problem for Celtic is just now you don't know what you're getting from week to week from them. You know, I watch them against Dundee, fabulous. You watch them against Hearts, okay, they were within the game but lose it, and then today they win it but in periods iffy. Rangers, will tiredness catch up with them sooner or later? I don't know, time will tell. Depends how that game goes on Thursday. For Hearts, what a great opportunity for Stephen Naismith. You know, the Hampden's in sight. He has to take care of business tomorrow night, of course. And for Aberdeen, for any new manager coming in, because I don't think it'll be Peter Leaven who takes on the role come the semi-final. For a new manager coming in, when you're looking for a bounce, what a time to get a bounce. And well, many teams want to play them. You know, always dangerous when you play against a team with a new manager. So it's going to be an interesting semi-final lineup. Incident-packed evening at Easter Road to round things off. Gordon Dalziel, how do you reflect on that? And by the way, you can tell us right now, 01419511025. We don't have loads of time left, but we can try and squeeze some in. Yeah,
it was a very exciting game. Lots of incidents, Gordon. You can go back to the Rangers goal, the penalty kick. I think, my opinion, it was the right decision. In fact, I think the referee got most decisions correct tonight. Hibs come out the second half, and I'm thinking, next goal's so important, this cup tie. Hibs are at home, they were on the front foot, they were looking good, but for me, they lost their discipline. They really did, and it cost them any chance. I'm not saying they would have got back in, but it cost them any chance of getting back in. They go down to 10 men, then a few minutes later, all of a sudden 9 men, no hope. Rangers into the semi-final. I'm looking forward to that draw. Now we keep saying Hearts because I think we expect Hearts to win that, but Dougie Emery and Morton will have something to say about it. It'll be a difficult tie, but it would be a terrific semi-final.
01419511025. You can tweet as well at Clyde SSB. Let's bring in Robert in Bells Hill. How's it going, Robert?
Hi Gordon and panel, how you doing?
Not bad in here, thank you. What do you think then after that game at Easter Road? What did you make of it?
First of all, it's first time caller. Result was brilliant. 2-0 next round. I don't know what else to say. It's just obviously the red cards helped, but obviously another 2 injuries, and what else can you say?
Did you think they were both red cards?
Oh, definitely red cards. Obviously the John Lundstrom, the tackle against him, the malice kind of came through. And luckily John Lundstrom wasn't in the way, because if he wasn't away, he would have been out for the rest of the season if he was contact. And just luckily he kind of moved his cell out of the way and contact wasn't made.
What did you... Well, let's go through them then, because it won't surprise you to hear there's an almighty Barney on social media about whether they were or were not the correct decisions. So let's go through them. I think you've done the penalty enough. You all think it was a penalty, so there's maybe not much debate there. Let's go the first red card. It's a second yellow for Obita. Now, you had it in for him early on, Mark. That doesn't necessarily mean that it all has to end in a red card. Was it a second booking?
I thought it was. Now, I thought when Matondo popped the ball off inside, Obita then looks at him to try and block his run. And I think initially he does okay as a fullback. That's allowed. You're allowed to block Matondo's run, because you know he's got the pace on you. But it's when he gets across him and his left arm then swings round and catches Matondo in the face. That's where he's overstepped the mark, and that's where I think he deserved a second yellow card.
It is sheer stupidity on his part, because immediately before he's been shoving McCausland off the park, a player who's been injured and is going off the park with the physio beside him, and Obita is shoving him in the back, and you could see Philippe Clement getting very angry with the fourth official over that. And then, to compound the felony, he dives in with Matondo, and the referee has no other option but to show the second yellow card and send them off. Sheer stupidity.
Are you in agreement? Is it a full house?
Yeah, it's a full house for me.
So what in particular you think there's an?
I think
you think he doesn't look at the ball, tries to get McCausland, and then there's it was Matondo, wasn't it? And then there's an arm comes round.
Yeah, I think Mark's spot on. I think the minute he raises that arm into Matondo, I think he's running the risk of a second yellow. And I think Steve McLean was right to give him the second yellow, and obviously that leads to the red. But I think Mark's right. Mark called it earlier. If you're a manager, you're noticing the patterns with the lad, and you knew he was going to run that risk, Gordon. And for me, I think you've got to act. You've got to get him out of the situation, make the substitution, and make sure you keep 11. After that, then the discipline went.
Then the tackle on John Lundstrom, straight red.
Yeah, again, stupidity. Why are you lunging in like that? You know, right in front of the referee, in front of the dugouts. Sheer stupidity, Mark 2.
Did it tick the boxes, Mark? You're looking for endangering an opponent or excessive force or that sort of thing?
No, I thought in real time, yes, I was. I think when I saw it again, and we've got the luxury of seeing it again, as does VAR and the referee if he chooses to go over, for me, no contact. There was speed in it. Was he endangering John Lundstrom? Not too sure about that. Was there excessive force? Well, I don't think there was any force because he didn't touch him, did he?
I mean, I still think when you fly in like that, I'm not really sure if. Try to think of the wording of it. I don't know if that would negate any argument about excessive force. I mean, you can still fly in with excessive force, can't you?
But I still think he misses Lundstrom. And look, he gave the referee a decision, but I still think after review, the referee. I thought it was harsh in.
It was a strange tackle to make, Gordon. I don't know if that means it's a red. I'll leave that up to you. But having gone down to 10, you wonder the thought process. But like I say, it doesn't mean it's definitely a red card.
Yeah, for me it was a crazy tackle to make, Gordon.
So you think it is?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I've watched it a few times. First time with Steve McLean, I think, yeah, definitely red. And then I was sort of trying to convince myself, like Mark, that, you know, he doesn't make that much contact. But just everything about the tackle, I think you just get caught up. You know, everybody had a look at it. I think he runs a risk there. I think he gives the referee an option to send him off.
Bit of a mixed bag then. They all think the first red was the correct decision. Gordon and Hugh think the second red was the correct decision, but Mark Wilson does not. Get your thoughts in right now. Thank you to Robert, and we could be speaking to you next.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's Open Line.
We're fast approaching the end of the show. It's a strange schedule for us, this, on a Sunday night. Gordon Dalziel's missed Songs of Praise, Antiques Roadshow, the full lot. He's itching to get out of here. But we've got time for more calls. Mark is in Airdrie. There were a few talking points in that one at Easter Road. Mark, what did you think?
I think it was a good performance for Rangers all round. Again, another few red cards. I mean, they can spice to use the word again tonight, but the first yellow card, I think it is a red card, but I can see how it wouldn't be. Some people say it's a guess or whatever, but I'm confident we can go into the treble now.
Well, the guys all think the first red was the most red of the two, if that makes sense. But Mark's kind of understanding both sides. What would you think about the draw, Mark? Would you, as a Rangers fan, like to face Celtic at this stage, or wait to the final if they were to get there and you were to get there?
I'd like them to get to the final. I'd like to get them in the final. I'd like to get Aberdeen in the next round. I think they'll be a bit downbeaten as well because they're missing their captain Shinnie after yesterday's yellow card. I seen the last few minutes of the game. So I'd like to get Celtic in the final.
He's got it all figured out.
Well, minus Shinnie, Aberdeen are down the heartbeat of the team. He's the only one really who has that dig about him. So it's a massive blow for them. You know, no matter who Aberdeen get, they'll be second favourites, whether it's Celtic, Rangers or Hearts. They're not in a position yet. They're not half the team that Neil Warnock thinks they are. So I can understand why Mark is growing in confidence about the treble, because Rangers, although the injury list mounts up, the spirit and commitment of the team is second to none.
Mark, what did you think about the fact you seem to have a few injuries mounting up? Is that a concern at all?
To be honest, in the dying end of the season, I think it is a bit of a concern, especially in the wide areas, because we've never really had that much cover on the right hand side, and obviously Matondo's back in the night. But I think all season we've kind of struggled with injuries. I think it started with Beale as well. We had a few injuries, but you see what Comeon's done with the team. He's took that lead. He's dealt with injuries perfectly. He's, again, the way he handled it with Roof. When Roof came back, he didn't play him in the plastic pitch just to make sure he wasn't going to get a recurring injury. So I think altogether it's been the situation's been handled perfectly, but the situation's alright. We could be doing with a few more with the players, just keep him in fit, keep him going. But Cantwell, he's quite a miss. So I think the injuries are kind of building up a bit and damaging the team, but I think we've done no well with no bad with them.
I mean, maybe Sima will be back quicker than people thought, but Gordon, the reason Dujon Sterling was playing in those wide positions is because Rangers needed him to fill in. He's done very well. Now he's gone off with a hamstring injury, replaced by Ross McCausland, and he went off. Yes, Rabbi Matondo came back. They do seem to be mounting up, particularly out wide. Todd Cantwell is still out, like we said. It just seems to be one thing after another.
Only my opinion, I think Sterling's a big miss. I really do. I thought he was excellent in Portugal. Gets his first ever goal. Plays a big part tonight for his 30 minutes he was on. I thought up and down that right side, causing all sorts of problems. Wins the penalty kick. He's one of those players that it doesn't matter where you ask him to play, he'll go out, he'll give it his best shot. I think he brings a lot to Rangers. Look, you look at both the sides, Rangers and Celtic, they're missing big key players. And obviously Rangers have got a heavier schedule with the Europa League, especially on Thursday night, a great opportunity to progress. So both sides are struggling a little bit with key players and injuries, but look, they've got big squads, you've just got to go on with it.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think Philip Clement is managing it well. Like Mark said, I think, you know, he's mentioned it once or twice, but he's managed to fill in. I'll go back to the point I made earlier, that the spine of the team, if he can keep that intact, then he's got a real chance. Now, when you get to this stage in the Europa League, this stage in the league where you're sitting top and you're in the semi-final with one trophy in the cabinet, of course the treble is certainly on, but the spine of the team is crucial to further success. If he keeps them fit, they're in with a chance.
I think you'll go through in Europe as well, Mark.
I mean, at Ibrox, I've experienced it. But when we got to the final, I think we can take him to Ibrox. Honestly, I think we can go through. I don't think we'll get as far as we did in the final the last time we were in Europa League, but I think we can go through Thursday. Aye.
Well, it's going to be some week, that's for sure. Thank you to Mark. That will bring an end to the phone call. Certainly, we're almost out of time. Hugh, how would you sum up this weekend of Scottish Cup quarter-final action?
Remarkable to begin with, in that Aberdeen win their way through to the semi-final and then lose the manager at the end of the game, and also lose their captain for the semi-final because Graham Shinney was booked and he's out. But they'll be happy to be there, as will Celtic, who did not play well against Livingston but got there in the end. Rangers ended up playing 9 men, and 9 men looked better than 11 for Hibs, but Rangers got there, and now it's all about Morton Hearts and the draw that follows thereafter.
Yes, plenty to look forward to. That game is tomorrow, so that will be good in its own right, and then we've got the draw. So much excitement, and we can look back on all of the weekend's biggest talking points with Andy Halliday and Roger Hanna from 6 o'clock tomorrow. In the meantime, stay right there. The Sunday Night Takeover with Callum Gallagher is up next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast
with Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.